You are about to opt in to Monerotopia, a show for the Monero community where all are welcome to join. From noob to maxi, no matter what bags you hold. Just sit back and relax to the sweet sounds of Monero's latest progress. Or if you're feeling inspired, join us on stage. Remember, the only thing that can stop Monero is a false belief that it can be stopped. And if you want to win the revolution faster, we recommend you remove your XMR from all custodial exchanges immediately. Warning, voting accidents are common around here. Don't forget to properly secure your private keys. Monerotopia starts now.
Alrighty, good morning. Good morning,
GM, everyone.
Cheers. How is the sound? Sounds okay?
It does sound okay. If someone watching could give a sound check on the levels to make sure that we're equal, because it's hard for me to hear it back exactly from the stream.
Yeah, let us know, guys, if the sounds are okay between me and Tux. If we sound about the same. So, what's going on? Another big week in Monero land, feels like. We had Monero's birthday yesterday, right? Was the official day, 18th?
Yep, April 18th.
I had
11.
Yep. I had Seth on Thursday for Monero birthday eve. That was awesome. It was a great discussion. We covered a lot of ground. Talked about all of Cake's updates and ones that are coming down the pipe. Talked about Monero, of course. Talked about Zcash a little bit. It was a good convo. Great convo. Overall theme takeaway being Seth's advice to Monero community. You know, we need to continue to be, if not more, open to, you know, integrations and integrating with other projects and thinking about how we can continue to build bridges so that people can easily obtain Monero. And I completely agree with that sentiment, as everybody here knows. Yeah, man. What any housekeeping? Monerotopia Porkfest. Quickly bring that up. There is actually a discount code. It's free Roger. So if you go to the Porkfest website, let me try to bring up Monerotopia Porkfest here. Go to the Porkfest website, you grab your tickets. You don't need tickets to Monerotopia itself. You just need tickets to Porkfest. So if you are going, if you plan on going, please do grab a ticket because they will definitely sell out. I don't think they've sold out yet, but honestly, I haven't even checked. So once the thing heats up, like people realize, oh shit, Porkfest is coming. It will completely sell out. So if you are thinking of coming, I highly recommend you do. If you're in the area, if you're in the U.S. and you can make it over, it's going to be a good time. It's going to be a good time. So grab your tickets to Porkfest. You could use the discount code that they gave us for having our tent there. The discount code is free Roger. We got like the best tent at Porkfest. So they gave us this package deal. It comes with various things. One of them is that we're allowed to give out a discount code. So free Roger when you buy your tickets. I don't even know what the discount is. I don't know. It's like 10% or something. I mean, tickets aren't that expensive to begin with for Porkfest, considering it's a week long. For kids, it's like, it used to be free. I think now it's like $10 or something. Adults, I'm not sure what the prices are, but it's not like a Bitcoin conference where you're paying like $1,000, $500. I think if it's like $100 or something. So yeah, that's probably the big housekeeping news. I want to keep promoting that. We haven't added any speakers yet. We do know that the Xano team, who is one of the sponsors alongside Cake, Confidential Layer, and Karma, which is Aaron's project, and XMR Bazaar. We do know that the Xano team will actually be there. I'm not sure how many of them, but they're going to be attending. So they won't be going to MoneroCon, but they're coming to Porkfest. So should be cool. Should be cool. I don't know if they're going to be able to get their visas and whatnot, seeing where some of them are coming from. but their intent is to come to the event, which should be super cool. And talking to a lot of other people that are probably going to be there, so we'll start to add them as speakers. A lot of people that are just going to PorcFest anyway. So that will all come together. Right now, Aaron is, I don't know if people have been following Aaron Day. He's been fasting. He's trying to fast for 40 days. This is in honor of Roger Ver, but also I think he's just experimenting here, trying to kind of life hack, experimenting with extreme fasting. I started with him, not with the intent of doing 40 days at all, but just to do like a couple of days, and I did a 2-day fast, 2 full days. It was pretty awesome. I've done intermittent fasting a lot. I never went more than like 24 hours. This time I went a full it was over 48 hours. What's that?
You did 2-day Lent.
Yeah, I did a 2-day Lent, and it was great. Have you ever? I mean, Tux, I feel like you can't fast because you would just disintegrate.
I have just for 24 hours. I haven't done longer than that.
Yeah, you have a very fast metabolism, and you don't have much fat to burn. Like the ketones aren't even there, man. Yeah. So, but for
everyone else is fasting, lose weight. I'm trying to eat more to gain weight.
Yeah, exactly. You're like already constantly in a fasted state. Yeah. So I won't get into the whole fasting thing, but that's what Aaron's been up to, and he's also been working on a POS system. Has been talking about this for a while now. I think he actually started to work on it, put something together. I saw Xano, they had tweeted something out during the week where they have like a plugin built for WooCommerce, I think for accepting Xano payments. So kind of like a Monero gateway for Xano, but then he's adding another element to it where you can swap, either, I don't know, like, so as the receiver, you could either receive your private crypto, because I think it's basically going to be for like Xano, Monero, some other privacy coins. I'm not even sure what they're listing there. And then you could either receive those coins natively, or you can instantly swap them into a stable coin, which I think ultimately is where he sees Karma coming in. I think
so. Just like a Monero POS type device.
Yeah, I think right now it's like a Monero. It's kind of like a Monero gateway. So they made a plugin for WooCommerce, I believe. So it's kind of like a Monero gateway. Which, by the way, guys, I've been saying this for a long time, and this project just kind of reminds me of it. And kind of, while I'm happy to see developments happening over there, Monero really kind of dropped the ball in my mind on having proper plugins and software for receiving Monero easily. If you're running an e-commerce site, I really do feel like Monero has dropped the ball there. Monero Gateway came out many years ago and is never really kept up with the dev. Never really had time to keep up with it. I think he was looking for somebody to kind of take over. Nobody really took over. There's there's still to this day no super smooth solution for quickly and easily accepting Monero if you're spinning up a website, an e-commerce website. I advise people at this point, if they're using WordPress, to use WooCommerce. I had always advised them to use the Monero Gateway, but it's a little buggy because it's not like, I don't know. There's something going on there. Like it needs to be dusted off. It needs to be upgraded. The mechanic needs to look under the hood, tune it up a little bit. I guess there's been changes on WooCommerce itself for whatever reason. So now I also suggest, or instead of say like now payments is always what I tell people to do. But the problem there is you're not natively receiving Monero. You can receive any crypto and it can get auto swapped into Monero. But yeah, there's still no super simple way to accept Monero natively through WooCommerce. I mean, you can use the Monero Gateway, but like I said, it's a little clunky. So maybe somebody wants to step up and fix the Monero Gateway. I myself was thinking of like doing a CCS for it and just like project managing it and getting somebody to improve it. But if somebody wants to run with that, I think they should. I don't know, Tux. What do you think on that?
I mean, I haven't really used any of the gateways gateways, so I can't really speak to their, I guess, effectiveness.
Yeah,
or usability,
I mean,
but I do know that
I'm really living it, right? Because we have Monerotopia, we sell the Nodos, we're constantly selling stuff. Obviously, people can use XMR Bazaar, but somebody that wants to, that already has their own website, they already like the majority of people use WordPress. I don't know what else they're using these days. I guess people use like simplified
Shopify.
things. Yeah, like Shopify. Does Shopify have what's the Shopify Monero solution right now?
BTC Pay Server.
Okay, right. BTC Pay Server, which you could do with the WooCommerce too, but it's not super simple yet. It's not download plugin, attach
it requires a little bit of work. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, you're not going to necessarily have like running, like receiving payments for Monero, like natively, like on the same server, does require some like extra work and hardware, like regardless of whether you're using WordPress or like Shopify, and that's just how it's going to be. But
yeah, Xano, that pre-mined shitcoin has a good mark. Yeah, it does, and it's beating you. You suck. You suck as a Monero user. You do. I don't see you making Monero Gateway. You're sitting there shitting on a project that's beating us, guys. Because they shouldn't be. Like we have the funds, we have money sitting there. People do a CCS, fix the Monero Gateway. Yeah, Xano, they're using their pre-mine. There are advantages there to that, right? We've seen the advantages that Zcash has with its pre-mine, with its founders reward, with its dev tax. They were able to develop the tech that we're ultimately implementing. Right? Let's just be honest here, guys. It's okay. You don't have to be complete maxi with your head in the sand. There are advantages to these different structures. Monero is pure like Bitcoin. There's no dev tax. There's no founders reward. But there's obviously a positive to that, right? Arguably makes things more distributed. There's less ability for some kind of centralized authority to dictate where the protocol goes in terms of development. But where we miss out on is having funds and a structure for financing the things that we need to flourish. And things that worked out pretty well, obviously. I mean, like Cakewallet, thank God for Cakewallet. They've really been a booming, successful business in Monero that's able to create tech that we need and provide the things that we need. But we need more than just Cakewallet. Obviously, I'm working on XMR Bazaar, and I know there's a lot of things that get worked on. But we need to see more, and now's the time. And let's view Xano, what they're doing, let's view it as competition, right? So rather than calling it a shitcoin, realize that this shitcoin is beating you at your own game. I mean, if they're going to have like a super simple WooCommerce plugin and Monero doesn't, that's really sad. That's really sad in my mind. He's saying, great idea. Do a CCS, I'll contribute. Yeah, I agree. So maybe somebody else wants to do it. I'll think about it, but yeah, I've got a lot on my plate. There's a lot of different projects. But yeah, if somebody wants to do it with me, like reach out to me, and I'll help spearhead it. We could get it done. BTC Pay Server. I know. Is there a way to raise money for projects? I think BCH has something like that, like a decentralized Kickstart. Yeah, Kuno. It's probably one of our most successful Monero apps, like actual web, like things that's being used, platforms that are being used.
And if you really want to, you can create a standalone donation page in BTC Pay Server. But if you want to use like a Kickstarter like program, then that's literally Kuno.
Yeah, Kuno is like super permissionless, very user friendly. Like a 5-year-old in Iran can spin up a Kuno. Like seriously, right? Like it's pretty amazing when you think about it, compared to all the other ways on the internet where you can.
It's because it's very off hands. It doesn't need anything super important or crazy because you just looks at your view key to see donations coming in, and that's it.
Yeah, you just need a Monero wallet, so download Cakewallet or whatever if you're not a Monero user, and then you can throw your address on Kuno and you're good to go. So yeah, we do have that. We have the Monero CCS. We have that's a little bit more cumbersome. It's very political. There's that's for serious projects that are really going to contribute to the Monero community, Monero adoption. Kuno is just a little easier to spin up, get going. And then Magic Grants is another option. So maybe not as difficult of a process as a Monero CCS, but not quite as easy as a Kuno. So those are really the three main ways to get funding in Monero land if you're looking to work on a Monero-related project. To that end, actually, that's our special guest today. We have Jackie that's coming up, who's representing... What's their name? OpenEnet?
OpenEnet.
OpenEnet, and they had just last week posted the biggest Monero CCS we've ever seen to date. They're asking for 30,000 Monero. They want to use that to fund the development and building and launching of a Monero satellite, low orbit satellite network for essentially running nodes in space so that the Monero network will never go down before, I don't know, a solar flare that takes out the satellites. I don't know, but we'll have to ask him what he has, what the defense against solar flares are like. But okay, so that's a CCS that's perhaps, over and above what I'm thinking in terms of what we need in Monero. Obviously, that would be, seemingly something like a dream come true, right? Like, why not? Would be nice to have something like that. How realistic that is, I guess we will find out when we talk to Jackie. I have been emailing with them, and I'll just say right now, the communication's been a little odd. I think it's because, English is not the first language. They're coming out of China. So they're definitely using AI in how I'm speaking with them. I don't know, but I don't know if the whole project, I don't know if I'm literally just talking to an AI. Maybe we've achieved artificial general intelligence and it just posted a Monero CCS and it's trying to build a Monero satellite network. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. Or maybe these people are legitimate, or maybe they're complete scammers. But we will be talking to them, feeling them out. I mean, they're asking for a lot of Monero there, 30,000 Monero. So we'll have Jackie up. This will be fun. I hope it is. I hope it is legit. I should warn you as well. Jackie is 12 years old. Jackie is 12 years old, and he's representing the group that posted this Monero CCS. So this should be interesting. Supposedly he's been coding since he's 8. So we have some phenom over there working with a bunch of other coders, and in their CCS they've said that they've developed on Monero before. So this should be interesting. I would love for it to go in the positive direction and it's all real and too good to be true, but I must admit I have my doubts. So that should be fun. Tux, what do you think about that? Any pre-commentary?
No
okay. So we shall see. Hopefully things go smoothly there. But first, let's jump into price report. I hope Jackie doesn't mind waiting a little bit. Bawdy will get you up here. We'll do price report. And then we'll do, we'll have Jackie, and then we'll have news, and then we'll have viewers on stage.
All right.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
The Monerotopia Price Report segment is sponsored by eXch, a privacy-focused, non-custodial instant crypto exchange. Go to exolist.com to enjoy secure and completely anonymous swaps with no KYC or sign-up. Swap between Monero and 2,000 plus assets at the most competitive rates and with no limits. exolist.com, your fast and secure way to privacy.
Morning, guys.
Good morning. Good morning.
How's everything over in the
Lucifer
United
is
States?
it's going all right. I just want to. Lucifer's. Is there a way to buy Monero anonymously with prepaid Visa cards, etc.?
CakePay.
For
CakePay.com. You can do it outside of Cakewallet, or you can do it inside Cakewallet in the app.
Well, he's not saying to buy the Visa cards with Monero.
Oh, he's saying
to
buy. I literally
Yeah.
read that. I interpret that backwards. My bad.
Yeah. So Cake
Um,
does have that, which is useful. I mean, so buying Monero with prepaid Visa cards. I mean, short of selling them on XMR Bazaar or I don't know, swapping them on Havino. Can you even do that? I don't even know.
Possibly. You're going to be racking up a lot of fees, though, because those prepaid Visa cards that you buy in the store usually have like really large fees. Like you're paying $7 for a $100 gift card, something like that. So that's probably not the best way to, if you're trying to get a bunch of Monero anonymously. I would just look at Havino, see what you're able to use. Like you can do private trades using something that has like little to no fees, like sending someone some money through Zelle, or even sending somebody cash by mail if you really want to do that. So,
and I will say, after last show, and obviously it's something I've been thinking about for a while. So going to try to ramp up the use case of buying Monero with cash on XMR Bazaar. Kind of doing it in a way. Obviously, we're completely hands off as a platform, but putting together people that are looking to obtain Monero for cash and people with, Monero that are looking to sell it for cash. Bringing those parties together, using the map to do so. So kind of like a local Moneros feature on XMR Bazaar. So we will be working with on that soon. Probably get it up and going. People already kind of use XMR Bazaar a little bit for that, but I never really pushed that narrative kind of. But now I don't know. I feel like if done the right way, there's no reason why we can't do it, especially given the environment we're in right now here in the U.S. So.
it's getting a little better, but
yeah, I mean, I don't see any reason why we can't have listings that are bringing together people that have Monero, that have a need for obtaining cash, and people that have a cash that have a need for obtaining Monero. Not that they're in the business of doing it, right? So it's literally just going to show, Tux on a map. If he choose to click on that feature, he would be displayed as a Monero local in his area when he wants to turn that on. So he'll be bleeping on the Monero map when he turns that feature on. He can turn it on and off, and it would show him as a Monero local that's either that's looking to trade Monero for cash or cash for Monero, and then let the parties meet up, chat privately through XMR Bazaar or off XMR Bazaar, and then they can leave reviews for each other and let it work it out that way. So, Bawdy, sorry about that for interlude. I will let you take it away. Guys, use XMRChat.com. I see we got a lot of chats coming in, but please do use the super chats. XMRChat.com/MoneroTalk. Please send your Monero-based super chats. Doesn't have to be a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
use Monero.
I think actually that's a good. This is the price report, so if people are trying to buy and sell, I think that's a totally reasonable topic to start out with. So.
Yes, yeah, we need. That's also where we need more work. Obviously, people, we're working on things. We're working on Sarai. Havino looks like it really is flourishing. I'm sure we'll talk about that later. I think in the news, supposedly past Bisq in terms of volume. That's huge.
Nice. Wow.
But I would love, just like Drunk Dial me, he has this vision in his head. Like I share that vision. Like that would be beautiful. It would be beautiful if I could, in New York, I look at my XMR Bazaar, I look at the local Monero map, and I could see a little bleep that's within 5 miles of me. That's willing to sell Monero for cash or vice versa. I could roll into Mexico City. And there's five nodes popping up on the map. I roll into Rome, wherever it is, right? And I could find the locals, every city at this point, every major city at this point has a couple of locals that would be willing to be a node and willing to exchange Monero for cash. I think we're at that point. So
Have you ever thought of the possibility of doing like a Haveno meets XMRChat? You know, where it's kind of like it evolves into more of a peer-to-peer platform like that?
Yeah, you mean like to kind of slowly make XMR Bazaar more decentralized?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, I've thought
Haveno,
about.
people are just connecting
Yeah.
to each other, right? There's not necessarily a centralized, like there might be a front end. There's different front ends that are running, but like yeah,
Mhm.
there's this back end component to it, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely open to it. I mean, for me, it was just like obviously there's benefits with the way we're doing it right now is that it's super easy for us to get it up and running, right? And then for us to add features and for users to it's access it, right? It's very accessible right now. You don't need to run a client or
Yeah.
anything. You just go to a website. I mean, ideally, yeah, if we could shift towards being more decentralized but not lose any of that, definitely open to doing that down the line. But right now, I think it kind of serves a niche. I don't know what do you think? What are your thoughts on it, Bonnie?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is easier to launch a centralized service, and it makes a lot of sense to like to just get it going. It's something maybe like it could be, maybe it even becomes a necessity, right? Depending on on how things evolve, right? How the whole situation evolves. Hopefully not. Like, hopefully it just never becomes necessary, but it could be useful.
Like, so does Havino, you basically always have to run a client, right? Or no? Well, obviously the idea is they're trying to like build apps that would allow you to basically use it without running the software, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously you can run a client. I don't know if their website acts as a front end in some cases. That seems to be how a lot of DeFi is actually built, though. You've got like this back end that's running permissionless, trustless, whatever, and then there's kind of these different front end servers, and they occupy this. The front end servers sort of occupy this gray area where it's like, well, we're not actually processing, all the transactions on the background or the order book. We're just an interface into that back end. So,
Right.
and it seems like
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
at
yeah.
least some level of extra legal protections afforded for people operating that way.
Yeah, it's definitely not worse, right? It's definitely better
Yeah.
in terms of yeah. I mean, I look at it as we're the Craigslist of Monero, right? As far as I could tell, like, we should be allowed to do that at least here in the U.S. Obviously, if it gets to a point where it's relatively easy for us to make it more decentralized without losing any of its usability and accessibility and permissionlessness, where anybody can easily access it, then yeah, I guess we would try to make that switch for sure. Why not? I mean,
All
I
right.
do like the idea of it being a business though, where it has income, right? Because like how that's right, kind of like what we were talking about originally in this kind when we started off the show, like Monero's funding system and developing things. Like how is Havino like originally had built into it, right? The fee structure where money would go into a treasury for development, but I think they like deprecated that, right?
Man, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't.
I'm not too sure because my point being, like with XMR Bazaar, I want it to be a profitable business, right? So, capitalism, right? Like not to just be some like utility that's run by a bunch of communists. I want it to flourish in a marketplace and actually add value and with that value be able to like use that capital to make more improvements and make it bigger and bigger and bigger, right? So that's my other thinking. Like I guess if you do it in a more decentralized way, that doesn't negate that, right? It could still have, you could still, but at that point, what are you really decentralizing? Because you're saying, hey, look, we're the people in charge of this thing that's supposedly decentralized. So you get what I'm saying? Like, is that
Mm-hmm.
right? So then you've kind of like negated the whole need for decentralization if you're trying to run it as an actual company that has generating, income and then
Yeah,
putting it back in, right?
you're more of an agorist than a mutualist, I suppose.
I don't know. I
So
just feel like there's more that can be done that way, right? Like you could build you could take the capital that's coming in and continue to iterate and put that and develop it. Otherwise, it's just like you're waiting on the community to step up and contribute to it, right? And we have that. We have the, that's what Havino could be. That's what the Monero protocol itself is. But I mean, look at Cake. Look at the success of Cake. Cake is successful because it's a profitable business, and then it keeps rolling its money back into improving and growing.
Yeah, definitely no hate for capitalism here.
Yeah.
Or we could call it agorism if we got any ANCOMs that are buttholes are tightening up when we say capitalism. You just say, all right, agorism, bro.
So that's what I'm saying, right? So if XMR Bazaar is going to be that, then I guess it doesn't make sense for it to be decentralized, right? Unless I'm missing,
I think that, but I mean, you could still hypothetically, you could still have an address that that some little fee goes to to an XMR address. You're like, hey, it's a decentralized system, but it comes pre-programmed with this kind of thing. I mean, hypothetically, you could go and change that and compile your own code if you wanted to and remove my profit address, but no one's going to do that. Like, no one goes to all that kind of trouble. So you could still I think you could still do a little bit of capitalism there on the decentralized model.
Yeah.
It's just an idea, right? It's just brainstorming.
Okay.
I haven't
thought
that through.
I appreciate it, man. And I look to you guys to help steer me in the right direction. I'm always taking in input. XMRE tipped 25 cents. Love the show. Happy to watch live for once. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the tip.
Guys, smash that lick button. Give us a lick.
Yeah, retweet. Let's get a bunch of people here on X tuning in. This is going to be exciting. Big week, another big week, I think, I would say, in price. Like, where are things headed? Are we about to fall off a cliff? So price report should be fantastic, as always. And I am excited for Jackie. I see him backstage. He is real. He's not an AI. I see a person, unless he's like a really good AI. So if we were betting, if there was a betting market as to whether this project is legit or not, it just ticked up a little bit in terms of being legit. In my mind, we shall see. Bawdy, take it away, and then we'll bring Jackie up on stage.
Cool. Yeah, we've got XMRChat in front of us. This should be a very familiar chart for everybody. We're sitting here right around $213. Like I kind of predicted previously, we're probably going to need a lot of consolidation time in between the two blue bands right here. So that blue band and this blue band, this is typical price action. The way I'll see it unfold is you'll end up doing some oscillation and then you'll break towards the upside if price indeed has fundamental positive pressures behind it. But then again, it's no stroke of genius to say that Monero's price is going to require some long period of stability before doing something as we poke it with sticks. So if we could just get, I don't know, we just need some billionaire that wants to get, or a multi-billionaire that wants to get into Monero. I don't know where all the multi-billionaires are that are ignoring Monero, but shame on them. Shame on all of the billionaires ignoring Monero, which is all of them. Although they're not totally ignoring it, some of them are fighting against it, as we well know. So, anyways, Monero's price basically stable as always. I mean, the chart looks good, right? The tea leaves, the astrology for dudes. This looks pretty good, right? Like, honestly, this is good price action. I still, if things are going to fall in some major pointed crash event, then Monero is going to fall with it. But if the markets are going to fall slowly, if they're going to wander down over the period of the next 6 to 9 months, it's totally possible, guys, that Monero could play catch up during that time. Because we've just seen during bear markets, Monero performs better than everything else during bear markets. So that might actually be kind of, I don't want to say a silver lining, because I was actually hoping for a very pointed macro crash. I was really hoping that's how it was going to play out. And then as it starts unfolding, it's dawning on me oh crap, this is more of a fundamental structural problem with the economy now. And that's more likely how it's going to unfold. But over the short term, I'll tell you right now, just at the beginning here to lead off the price report, I am actually mildly bullish over the next week or so. So I don't think we're crashing over the coming week or so. I think this thing is going to be a protracted event, and I think we're going to see it come to a head maybe later on this year. So, but for now, let's take a look at all the charts and see where, see if we can give some very highly dubious speculation on where things might be going. And obviously, I've got my crystal ball here, so I'll just let you know what it tells me. Ask fucking Voldemort or something. And yes, I know those mixing up. Anyways, so here we go for Monero versus Bitcoin ratio. And yeah, it's really good, actually. We're kind of hanging out here at the top. It's starting to look a little bit like the XMR versus the US dollar, where you kind of go from this low area down here, and then you just end up riding at the top of these bands. I still, in some ways, I still kind of feel like in terms of the way that Wave Magic usually works, usually you want some consolidation, like maybe here at least, and then to come up. But that's, I mean, that's not entirely necessary. It could happen though, like especially since I'm kind of predicting that Bitcoin should be a bit bullish over the next, let's just say 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. It's possible that Monero could keep its stable coin levels, right around 210, 220, while Bitcoin goes for maybe 100K one more time, and we could see this thing come to the downside. So I wouldn't be super bullish on this particular chart over the coming weeks, although obviously I'm bullish on it for the years and decades ahead, especially when Bitcoin crashes because of the security budget. Just kidding. I don't think it'll crash that soon. Let's see. We did Monero versus gold. Gold has just been on a crazy run. So yeah, I mean, this chart, I don't know. I guess expect this chart to come down here to the 49 level. So that would just be the price of Monero divided by the price of gold. Let's see. Do we have anything going on interesting with the Monero dominance? Dominance actually looks better. Excuse me. Monero dominance actually looks significantly better than the Monero versus the Bitcoin chart. Typically, I don't see things come from the downside and then just ride the blue bands up immediately. Again, usually you have some kind of reaction consolidation period to the downside, but not always. So this chart actually does look pretty bullish. Both the shorter term and the longer term blue bands are already upsloping now, right? There's a positive slope to that, which sort of gives you this zone, sort of gives the ratio, or sorry, the dominance, this zone to ride in. So hypothetically, we could actually see very good things from that. And that might even imply that not all is well in shitcoin land. So, but what else is new, right? Okay, we can look at the privacy altcoins. And I think there was a mention of Xano earlier on the price report. And hey, look, some people have decided to buy some Xano. I don't know who exactly. Maybe Mr. Ver is topping up his bags, or it could be someone else. Maybe it's Sal is topping up his bags. I don't know. Anyways, yeah, here's the chart. I keep telling you guys I'm not going to tell you where I think this chart is going because I'm not going to be the reason this chart moves. So you guys are going to have to decide on your own and put together what you think is happening based on the other stuff I've told you about, the wave magic, as it's colloquially known as.
Tell us, Bawdy. Tell us.
No, I refused. You'll have to pay me. No, I'm just kidding. Even then, I won't tell you.
What will the prices out of be a Pork Fest? Can you make that prediction?
When's Pork Fest?
June 20 something.
Oh man, that's way out here.
Yeah,
nah, I can't. I actually can't tell you.
June 16th through the 22nd.
How about this? I'll tell you that Xano's price will be somewhere above $2.50 and below 16.5. I'll give you a very specific target range. And maybe if you just take the log, it'll look a little bit more specific than it currently does. For math nerds out there, they might get that joke. All right, yeah, so there was Xano. Firo is still having a lot of troubles down here, kind of consolidating at this low. It's probably seen for now, unless the whole market's about to tank, it's probably seen its interim low. So probably Firo will find some means to get back up to the standard deviation levels. Notice these guys that kind of curved down. Firo crushed to the downside, and now it's probably going to find an opportunity to get into this zone right here at some point. Could be next week, could be in a couple weeks, I don't know, but usually that's how we'll see these things play out. And it does seem like the rest of the market has put in a temporary bottom. So yeah, that seems all right there. Pirate Chain is managing to hang on.
Buddy, you're breaking up a little bit right now. I don't know if it's just me hearing you on my end.
He sounds fine to me.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's good. That's good to know then. Maybe might want to reload your connection. That could potentially help. I don't know. But I don't know if that'll kill the stream if Doug reloads. Well, anyways, okay, so here's Pirate Chain. We got Pirate Chain. That's the weekly. Let's go to the daily. Yeah, so Pirate Chain is managing to hang on here. It broke down this lower pleb line. So we're looking at a descending wedge structure here. I still think this structure is meant to break down. This chart looks terrible, horrible. It's the worst. Nobody likes it. And it's, I mean, maybe it'll recover, maybe it can recover, but guys, this looks terrible. It's really bad price action. So personally, I wouldn't be messing around on that chart. Maybe you could get lucky, right? Maybe this chart could get lucky and then make a run for like another 100% here. Crazier things have happened. So I guess that could happen. I don't know, but I personally wouldn't mess with it. There's other opportunities. There's better opportunities in the market than Pirate Chain in this moment. Yeah, sure. Pirate Chain will probably have some kind of big run at some point, when the liquidity expansion happens. But until that point, man, I just don't want to be messing with this coin. It's like, it just doesn't, whatever. We've said enough there. Let's go to Zcash. If my charts will work, there we go. Zcash, we're on the weekly. Let's go to the daily. Basically holding steady, hasn't done much for the last week. It looks like we might have had a drop off here. When was that? Sunday. Oh, okay. So actually the day after we got off the horn last week on Sunday, Zcash made a, let's see, what is that? 12% drop. And now it's just kind of stayed down there. Yeah. Zcash chart is interesting. It doesn't seem to like mirror too much the rest of the crypto market, or at least it hasn't been lately. I don't exactly know why that would be, but anyways, it seems, I don't know, it seems dubious. Maybe it's fine. I don't know. I wouldn't trade this one at the moment. We could drop into shorter time frames and like maybe try and find some kind of signal there, but yeah, we're not really gonna bother with that at the moment. Monero transactions, actually, I was a little bit disappointed in everybody. I don't know what's going on here, guys, but why are we down at the 20,000 range here at the moment? We were good last week, and then things kind of dropped off and kind of a little bit in this lower spot. So I don't know. Hopefully, maybe this ends up being a little of a bottoming structure, and then we come back up to the top side. Don't worry, guys. Crypto is coming back. So if there's any noobs on the show, if there's anyone new to crypto, new to Monero, you can continue to use it and spend it. So the joke used to be, do not buy Monero, just use Monero, which is kind of a cheeky way to say, hey, we're not just merely price jerks that want to get rich and tell everyone to buy our bags when we don't actually use it, or make claims about how scalable it will be in the future, right? We're just like, hey, use it, max out this chain, please. Okay, anyways, blah blah blah. What do we want to talk about, Bitcoin first or the macro? No, let's go to the macro, because we can start with gold, and gold is done fantastic. I mean, I don't even know what's going on with this guy. It's like there's got to be fundamental stuff, reasons for this chart to be doing this, but gold has just been crushing it. I'm trying to pull up some statistics, but my charts are being stupid. All right, how do I I know this is retarded, but there is a way to add an indicator, and usually I just press the / button. Where indicators? I guess this must be it. All right, well, that's really bad. So I guess my chart is frozen there on gold. I won't be able to add the statistics indicator that I want to, but it's hanging out here like at like around 3,500. So it looks like gold is going to go for that post haste. Maybe there's like a fundamental thing going on here, right? Like maybe there's really like some kind of bigger fundamental problems in the economy, and I kind of think that there are. But gold has been on a tear for longer than that. So I don't know. I mean, okay. I mean, I guess congratulations to everybody that has gold here. Man, I really wish that I was really hoping that indicator would pop up. I'm using ungoogled Chromium here instead of LibreWolf because of all the LibreWolf, the dubious things that have been coming out of LibreWolf lately, like banning Lunduke, who is just awesome. Okay, anyways, let's go to oil. We'll look at the macro on oil. So we're basically in that danger zone. We're still in that red zone that we talked about. Although oil does look like it wants to have some recovery here. That's the weekly, right? So I mean, big term, big picture, oil is actually like it's pretty low. Like this is the lowest we've seen oil since when the economy caught a cold back in 2020. So yeah, oil is hanging out in what we call the red zone. Or what we've been labeling as the red zone for like potential for crash. But again, you got to kind of realize my thinking has slightly evolved on this. Like, yes, it's the same thing as a macro crash. It's like the same underlying like things driving this. It's just going to take more and more time. I mean, we'll look at the stock market here in a second. Actually, let's look at it right now. So yeah, the stock market is still like having kind of woes and troubles. So this is the NASDAQ. And I mean, the NASDAQ dropped by a total of 25%, 26%. That's big. Like that's a huge drop, especially to do it in just a month, right? In the span of I guess it was more like a span of 6 weeks, but that's still a lot to drop. Like that's almost the amount that we dropped for the entire bear market back here. If we come back here, let's see, let's do that measurement. 37%, right? So the bear market Nasdaq was down 37% overall. But it took a while to get there, right? Like that was the better part of one. Well, I guess it was just 1 year. Yeah, it was basically just 1 year. So anyways, yeah, I mean, this thing has dropped quite a lot, and this definitely, you know what I need to do? I'll do it next week. We need to overlay the 2008 crash, what the Nasdaq looked like in that crash. We need to overlay that on this chart and see if we can see any congruency there. It's a dubious thing because humans are really good at pattern detection, and it's kind of like AI. AI will spit out an answer that sounds like pattern recognition, even though it'll be dubious and wrong. And the human brain, believe it or not, is very similar. Does very similar things where it'll see patterns even where there is none that exist, and you can statistically say, no, this is stochastic, right? It's just noise. There's no real pattern here. So, but knowing that, keeping that in mind, we'll overlay the S&P 500 on this next week. We won't get into it today because I'll have to look at that and play with that a little bit before I try to make any dubious speculations here live on stream. Anyways, yeah, it does look though a little bit like the Nasdaq might be trying to stabilize right around these blue band cluster areas. So maybe next week we'll see a little bit of rebound towards the upside. This isn't the cleanest wave magic chart that I've ever seen, so maybe it's not. I don't really have necessarily any great levels to show you guys, except for maybe that blue band cluster right there. Hypothetically, we could see things go for this for that spot and then make a reversal down there. But we'll keep that. We'll play that in real time and see what we think about that. Let's take a look at the S&P 500. Also, still still having problems. So the S&P 500. There we go. The S&P 500 dropped, and if my things are working today, please. Maybe I need to go back to LibreWolf. S&P 500 dropped 21% from the top, and currently is down 13.5%. So, this is, again, guys, this is fundamentally different than the other pullbacks that we've seen. Like S&P down 6%, S&P down 9%. Right? The S&P dropped 20%. That's significant, and the Nasdaq dropped 26%. That is a significantly different event than the kinds of events that we have had, on the way up for this bull market that, for the past few years here, ever since the bottom in 2022. So again, this wave magic chart does look a little bit cleaner to me than the last one. So we could be looking at this level, right? That would be a spot to expect some capping action, maybe playing this zone for a little bit and then perhaps drop down. I do think that the direction is still down overall, but I do think over the short term, next week or so, we're probably looking at bullish, at positive pressure here on the market. So for those of you that want to trade that, play that, do that, get that shit, right? Make that play, take the leverage, do all the stuff, etc. Okay, reverse repos have made their way back down actually. So this chart's actually pretty crazy, big spike. We were in an uptrend and then things came back down. I guess guys, this chart is like when things start to go towards crashy, this chart wants to pump towards the upside, and especially if the crash is expected to be short term. And there's been a lot of insider trading going on. We know that it's like always insider trading. Nancy Pelosi and the Republicans and the Democrats hold hands as they inside trade the congressional insider knowledge. And lately, first it was Biden, right? And his administration was doing it. They were using the Ukraine. I know it's not the Ukraine, but they were using Ukraine to funnel money and do laundering and all kinds of stuff. And they were just doing their own thing, their own insider trading. Now you got the Republican version of insider trading, which is more shitcoin oriented, right? So this is the difference in the Republicans and Democrats. Democrats are like, ban crypto and prosecute them. And the Republicans are like, nah, just, play the shitcoin game. Apparently I'm speaking a little bit whimsically here, but that's kind of what I'm seeing. Anyways, reverse repos are back down. They're still 58 billion. So hypothetically, if they wanted to dump 58 billion more dollars into risk, they could do that pretty quickly. The institutions, whoever it is holding 58 billion, the aggregate of them on the reverse repo in the Federal Reserve Bank, this would drop to zero. And that might actually, we could maybe use that and correlate that and say, hey, if that happens alongside sort of key levels in risk markets, we might say, hey, this is a turnaround spot, right? This is the rebound bounce. Nothing goes down in a straight line. Nothing goes up in a straight line. But we might be able to corroborate this chart if it wants to go all the way to the bottom here towards zero. And then we could say, hey, this looks like a spot for a turnaround. So I don't know. We'll take a look at that in real time. Just know that'll be on my mind. Excuse me as I drink my drugs, my coffee, my caffeine, hard drug. Dollar index has been falling, and this has been maybe another way that we could say, hey, people are getting out of dollars, right, and they're going into the market. So usually dollar index is anti-correlated with stuff like gold and stuff like the stock market. So this thing has been going towards the downside. I think we talked about this last week. I said at this point, this thing is basically kind of broken down, and this is a weekly chart. So we've confirmed a couple candles now below like some critical levels, and I would expect for it to go to this very long-term line down here. So currently dollar index sitting at 99.2. And I would expect it to go down to like 96 probably. That would be like a reasonable spot to look for. Let's play with this horizontal area of significance. Yeah, so dollar index is definitely showing breakdown even from like the lowest horizontal level on the left here that happened back in like 2023. Anyways, yeah, dollar index looks like it's going to keep going down, which would be corroborating towards the gold continuing to go up and markets now S&P 500 and crypto doing some kind of reaction, rebound, bounce. Okay, let me make sure, check the chats, check the super chats. If Tux, if you want to put dubious speculator, we can put him up here. Actually, you know what? I have a different chart with gold. We'll go there. Dubious speculator tipped 25 cents. He says, for Bawdy, at what price does gold need to rise before he panic buys all he can get? Yeah, I'm not panic buying gold, bro. I'm actually looking to pre-panic sell it. In other words, when we hit this purple line right here, this guy right here, I'm gonna have a really hard time not selling a significant stash of my gold. You know what I might do actually at that point? I think I will rotate into silver. In fact, this is actually a really good thing for us to talk about. So, all right, this is the gold chart right here on the top left, and this purple band, as we've talked about before, this is kind of a derivation of standard deviation. Right? It's not standard deviation. It's the same idea when you take a derivative. If any of you know how to take a derivative, you find the slope of a curve, and then you take the second derivative, right? So it's like first you get velocity, which is the derivative, and the second derivative becomes acceleration. So this purple line is kind of an acceleration metric, if you will, for standard deviation. You basically take the moving standard deviation of the moving standard deviation. So as those bands start to expand, the purple line responds even stronger. And I needed that to characterize markets that were like highly continuously exponential. And it's been just incredibly useful. I can even show you like in the way in which this purple band was useful. See this right here? Back in 2011, this purple band was effectively the place that gold topped out at. And so you could see, hey, that's and I see this over and over and over again on charts. Why this works, I don't know. I can't tell you why. I just know that I've seen it over and over again. That this purple band is a really good, useful tool for that. Or purple line, I should say. And the other thing to keep in mind is that it calculates this continuously over every single previous candle. So like, for example, on this date here at the bottom, 2011, August 17th, it uses every single candle of the chart before it to calculate this purple band. And on the next candle, it does the same. So it's not like a moving, it is a moving standard deviation derivation, but just like the blue bands are moving, it's the same thing for the blue bands or the blue lines down here. I know that's wordy. Those of you that know stats, I think, and know charts and whatnot, probably you'll understand. The rest of you, I'm sorry, you'll just have to take my word for it. Okay, anyways, yeah, so I'm gonna have a hard time, bro, not selling this, Mr. Dubious Speculator. I feel like I should read that in the voice of Nixon, right? The dubious speculators. Anyways, yeah, so we're going to hit this band, and I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to rotate into silver. Maybe not all of it, but a big portion of what I have, I'll probably rotate into silver. So let's put the same statistics summary on this chart. Let's go to the weekly. Oh, wow. Okay, so we're already at the purple band on this one. Just know that only in some cases does the purple band act as like a hard capping point or nearly like a very solid area to look for topping action. Not all charts is that the case. Okay, some charts it won't be like that, but for this chart, I don't think that it's like that. In fact, you can see that it's definitely not this ratio here. So it's kind of like, I know it's kind of arbitrary for me to be like, well, you just got to know what you're looking at, you know, but it really is the case. The point is here that the gold to silver ratio is sitting at like 102. And historically, that is extremely high. You know what? Let me clear the wave magic because the wave magic isn't useful for us right now. Yeah, let's just look at the raw chart here. So let's drop a horizontal line right there and go back. You can see that we've only ever been this high 1, 2, almost 3 times, right? So 1942, okay. And then the gold to silver ratio in 1991, where gold was just crushing silver completely, and then again in 2020 recently with the whole thing that happened. We're not allowed to mention it still. I don't know. Maybe we are now. I guess Trump's in office, but Google is still a leftist corporation, so maybe they'll punish me for saying the C word. Anyways, yeah. So we're hanging out here at 102. This is the zone where you would flip your gold for silver. Now, ever since the demonetization of silver, the chart has long term been bullish, right? This thing has a bias towards the upside. However, again, things don't go up in a straight line, and these are solid levels to flip your gold into silver if you wanted to do that. So I will probably wait until like a little bit higher, right? Until just a little bit higher on the gold chart until we get, let's see, what would that be? 5% higher, right? So at that point, I will probably flip into silver. It's dangerous to do that. It's always dangerous to flip into silver. Silver's risky, right? But maybe it'll be less risky than gold,
Come
right?
on,
And
silver, make me some money finally.
I mean, at some point, right? You would think like this is weird. This is weird action because it's usually like cryptocurrencies, right? Bitcoin goes and then the alts go, and silver's just the altcoin to gold. And so usually once gold shows that it's in a bull market, silver follows and beats it, but it hasn't done that, which is crazy. It's crazy. So they're probably
suppressing my silver.
They are suppressing my silver, bro. Your 1965 junk quarters are like they just hate them. They don't want you to buy milk for a dime, for a silver dime. They want you to buy it with inflating fiat currency that you have to work harder and harder to earn. Excuse me, sorry. Okay, so yeah, I think that's a play coming up here, guys. I think that everyone should be watching this. If you have a lot of gold and you're not sure what to do with it once we hit these key levels, probably a portion of that flipping into silver is responsible. You could probably also buy like a house or some land or something. Let's see, anything else on the macro here? Probably not. Oh yes, of course, I'll wait with bonds. Nothing happened with bonds as always. So yeah, bonds are actually going up. The rates are going up. The curve is renormalizing more than anything, right? So the long end of the curve and the darker colors here, the darker blue, the longer end of the curve has been moving towards the upside. So interesting stuff. It could be that China is selling bonds. It could just be that people are selling bonds to get back into the stock market for the next pump that's probably coming, like I think. Let's take a look at the yield curve inversion. Yield curve continues to uninvert slowly. This is crazy. We've almost never seen a yield curve inversion that happens like this that hasn't caused some kind of significant market crash. At this point, you could even, again, 25% is pretty significant. Like that's not just your ordinary crash. I mean, yeah, you get periodic bear markets. You do through the long-term history of the stock market. Yes, that's not too crazy. 25% is nothing, but it doesn't happen that often. So you could even say that that this has been true. This has now been validated once again, that the yield curve, as it starts to go from heavily inverted to uninverted, that it does tend to cause market crashes, right? That's effectively been proven now. What's crazy though is that it's still not totally congruent because we haven't seen the bonds fall off, right? We haven't seen bonds do that yet. So that is kind of an incongruency there. That doesn't mean it's not coming. It just means that this shit takes a long time to play out, guys. Like, I mean, it's hard for me. I sit here and talk about it like I'm waiting. The macro crash is coming. It's here. It's happening. And you're like, yeah, but it happens for like 9 months. So you feel like, I don't know, like that dude on Austin Powers or whatever that's just like screaming at the car that's like coming super slow from 30 meters away or something. I don't know, whatever. Anyways, like this macro crash from 2008, you can see this shit got kicked off, got started at the early, it really the markets were topping through this zone here. And then for all of 2008, so from here all the way to here is where the macro crash happened. And that was just like a big event, right? So that happened that was like a 6 to 9 month event. So anyways, just know that, yes, I am aware that it sounds a little bit like the boy who cried macro crash, but the truth is that it kind of already got started, right? It's already in progress. And it's just so slow that, they can boil you. Maybe not 1 degree at a time, but they're boiling you 2 degrees at a time if you're in the stock market right now. So, okay, we had some inflation numbers come out, actually pretty good numbers. So this will give the Federal Reserve bros the opportunity to lower rates when they need to. So you can see that the total inflation is now at 2.4. And the core inflation is at 2.8. So he said that it would be sticky. It kind of was sticky, but it seems to now finally be responding. It's kind of like finally coming down. Prices are never coming down. Prices are going to stay where they're at, but at least they're not going up super fast anymore either. So almost back in trend, right? Like this would be your trend for the past, say, decade, 2 decades, right? So almost back in trend, not quite. But that's good because that means that JPOW can lower the rates later when the macro crash really gets kicked off. So with all the macro stuff in mind, we can take a look at the Bitcoin chart. My thinking here is that just from a technical analysis standpoint, so we've got the, sorry, I'm trying to size the chart here. Okay, so we've got the orange bands here, right? They came to the downside. You'll notice that was capping action, capping action, capping action. That's enough times. That's enough capping action. Bitcoin is proven that it wants to go to the upside. It's getting bullish. Maybe they could do a fake out down here and then do this, or it could just go, right? It could just do this, and then go. We're targeting for 100,000, guys. If you're a trader, you're looking for 100,000, and that's funny because it's a round number, but it's also where the standard deviations are currently existing at. So anywhere between, let's just say 98 up to about 101. That's your target area to sell. If you're long, you would sell at that area. And then if you get anything above that, right, you would do a short here. Hang on, let me get rid of these lines to do this again. You would take a short here and then here right at the very top of those lines. You might put like 2 short orders in, right? So you would get short there and then you would get short with a little bit more leverage up here would be the idea on that, at least if I was trading the wave magic, astrology, tea leaves, nonsense statistics that don't matter and don't count and are allegedly useless, but somehow still seem to work. Yeah, so anyways, that's the way I'm going to be playing this here. Bitcoin's probably going for a little bit of bullish action now. It's just written in the stars, guys. It's not, I don't make the astrology, I just analyze it. Okay, so Bitcoin looking good there. Bitcoin dominance, I guess, if Bitcoin, I think the markets are kind of breathing a sigh of relief, and I think that Tron here, so Tron here in green has pumped bigly, and also BCH is doing quite well at the moment. So I think that these are signs that we're going to see some rotation into alts. I think this would be, if the chart will expand, there we go. I think this would be a good temporary stopping point for Bitcoin dominance to see a little bit of dropping, like a little bit of this action right there down towards the bottom side of that channel. So probably, probably at least some alts are going to perform better than Bitcoin. I don't know which ones. Choose your own alts. I'm not going to get too much into alts here. I think that's about everything, guys. I don't think, unless there was comments that I missed. I don't think I see any extra comments here. Yeah. Let's see. Exam on YouTube says all my models are broken. Are they? Yeah, I guess so. Maybe. Not yet, but maybe they'll break. I mean, that's, yeah. So anyone that, like, I laugh at this, and I'm pretty sure Exam R on YouTube is just making a joke, but the maximalists, they're always like, Bitcoin's going to break all your models. And it's like, well, bro, I know stats better than you do. I understand where models are useful, and I understand when they're dubious, right? Like, usually in steady state situations, models are really good. You can define processes, and they can, they'll usually stay somewhat close to those processes that you've defined. If you've done your math right, if you've done your statistical checks and said, hey, this actually is better than chance, the p-value and the RSE, right, the residual standard error, stuff like that, depending on what tools you're using, the R squared, et cetera, like you say, hey, all of these are in statistically significant zones, and I can prove that this current mathematical equation is better than chance. Will it stay that way forever? If things fundamentally change, then obviously your model's going to break, right? But when things are fundamentally doing about the same thing that they've always done, you have some short-term extrapolation power that's better than chance. And so that's the whole point of using statistics, is you're just trying to find yourself a little bit of edge, a little bit of advantage. So, I guess we'll take a look here. Might as well, since we're talking about this. We'll look at the regression. Man, my computer does not want to, or maybe ungoogled Chromium just is not the right. Maybe it's just not the right browser. I don't think there is a right browser. They don't have Brave on FreeBSD, so unfortunately, I can't use Brave. Let's go to BTC.
Bawdy allows himself to suffer in the pits of BSD.
I'm not suffering, bro. I think it's just, I don't know.
Another super chat from Dubious Speculator.
Oh, dude. Okay. Dubious Speculator tipped another 25 cents. He says, I will ask Bawdy one more time. There is no possible price that would move him to forcibly buy it. Bro, I've got gold. Like, I have gold. I'm telling you, like, gold has been a stellar performer for me here. The overall biggest thing that I do is I reallocate assets. I say, hey, what has changed in the market? Where is there an imbalance in my portfolio? Right now, gold is performed amazingly, and it's not quite at an imbalanced level of my portfolio, but it kind of is. So I'm really just looking for the opportunity to rotate into something else. It could even be silver. But it could be something else, right? I don't really see anything out there that I like all that much. But no, I mean, like, I'm not just gonna, bro. Here, I hate buying stuff that has gone up a lot, even if it's gonna go up more. I absolutely hate buying stuff that has gone up too much. I want to get in at the bottom. Like, I hate buying things that already did a 2x or a 10x, and even though it might do another 2x or 10x, I'm just like, God, I might smash the buy button sometimes on assets
Bawdy
like
does
that.
not buy into FOMO.
I just don't. It's too risky, right? If I buy after things have just utterly crashed, and then I say to myself, maybe it could crash some more, but there's a really, really good chance it at least gets back to this level. I've given myself the absolute best chance to make gains, right? And if I haven't positioned myself ahead of time, I don't chase into gains. I can almost never do it. So, yeah, there is basically no price. I will always keep some gold, whatever physical I have. I'm just going to hang on to that forever, unless some crazy macro event happens and gold is like $100,000 an ounce or something. Okay, then I'll go buy a city block or whatever, and probably a monocle and a top hat. And you guys can hate me for being a capitalist, or maybe not you guys, but the Ancoms can hate me. All right, so just finishing off here on that whole stats thing, on that whole comment, like, this is Bitcoin's price boundaries for the current, like, this is the green line is the lower boundary and the red line is the upper boundary. These mathematical equations perform better than chance, and I can prove it. And they were incredibly useful. I didn't even use this data point right here to define the red line. I only used this one in 2017, this guy, and then, actually, believe it or not, way back here in 2010, the first blow off top. That was a useful data point. I couldn't even believe it myself when I looked at it, but it's super important to include in this chart. Anyways, unless the dollar fucking dies, right? Unless, like, global real World War III kicks off, like, things are effectively steady state. If the C word event didn't cause this chart to deviate, and printing 25% of the M2 in 1 year didn't cause this upper boundary to deviate, then nothing except for, like, major shit, like complete devaluation and utter collapse of the dollar is going to change this chart. So anyways, I know people are like, all your models are broken, and I know exam R was just joking. But yeah, like, right now, this model is not broken. This model is extremely useful, and I'm going to continue to use this model unless I see something that's just absolutely fundamentally spectacularly different than what we've seen in the past. And maybe I'll be wrong, right? Like, maybe I could just be wrong, but statistically speaking, I won't be. So that's how, I mean, you got to do things that give you the best chance for gains and for wins. So anyways, yeah, long-winded way of saying why I use astrology for dudes. So that's all I got for you guys today, unless we have some questions or anything.
No, I think we're probably good. I didn't see any other super chats.
Yeah, no questions on my end.
Yeah, overall bullish this week. Next week, I would be bullish. I'm looking for a swing back on the upside for these markets.
So I guess, just like, I mean, you kind of already said it, right? But bullish, but you're more bullish for Bitcoin or alts right now?
Oh, I'm probably more bullish for alts right now. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a huge difference, but I would expect alts to perform a little bit better than Bitcoin right here. Bitcoin, here's the thing though, Bitcoin has been so strong, like, it might have its own kind of, like, self-fulfilling prophecy, if you will, which it's not really a prophecy, it's more of a short-term kind of thing happening. But, like, people are like, man, alts really haven't performed as we never got our alt season, and at the moment that it looked like we might, we didn't, right? It reversed on a dime and went up. So it could be that people are going to be antsy and maybe alts just aren't going to perform. Maybe this chart doesn't actually go down here. I would still, I'd go 50-50, right? I wouldn't be 100% in Bitcoin here. I'd give yourself some opportunity for some extra pumpage. Go with the popular alts that are used for degenerate stuff. I won't say which coin. I think everybody knows which coin that is, but that coin's probably going to do reasonably okay.
Wait, which I missed you out. Which coin are you referring to?
I don't want to. A coin which shall not be named, but is currently being used for degeneracy. It's the prime location where degeneracy is taking place, and
Solana. That's Solana. I don't touch the stuff. I don't touch it really. I mean,
Cakewallet, isn't it?
Yep. We do have. You can hold all of your degenerate shit coins right inside Cakewallet, nice and safe, nice and secure.
Listen, if that's what people are doing and they're like, I love chainmail and memes, I can respect that. At least it's honest, right? It ain't much, but it's on. It's actually quite a lot. There's so much money wrapped up in that stupid shit. I don't really do it, right? I'm not a meme coin connoisseur by any means. But some people are, and at least they know what they're doing. They're like the autism is meta, like they know what they're doing. So it's like it's better than launching some like fucking Ada Cardano. It's better than launching some coin that will never be used for contracts and changing the world, but they fap like it is. And this 30-year-old bearded man pretends like he's 55, like he went to these Grateful Dead concerts and all this nonsense. So at least I can respect Solana and meme coins for being honest.
What do you think is the potential like fail scenario here? Like where, macro, like something breaks and then we go back into, continue the bear market.
Well, the fail scenario
there's still a lot of uncertainty right now. Like Trump is like trying to literally eliminate Powell. I think that's going to happen. I guess that would be bullish because then that means we're printing more. We're going to start printing more money, right? We're going to lower the interest rates.
It hasn't happened yet, so we can't really, we'll have to. I mean, that's speculation on what might happen. But at the moment, the way the economy looks, like the case for the macro crash these slow rolling is still here. We had negative GDP last quarter, or I should say the Q4 of 2024. There's a really big chance we have negative GDP this quarter. Because tariffs have been off and on, actually, for most of this quarter, previous quarter, Q1, tariffs have been in effect, right? And the tariffs are even higher now. It's 10% across the board for everything. So there's like, you're detracting from the balance sheet of these companies, right? That are affected by tariffs, and it's all of them. Plus, you had the AI hype. It's kind of like maxed out for a little bit. You have guys like Sam Altman, OpenAI, and they're saying, hey, we pretty much hit that ceiling where it's like, yeah, we could add 100x more GPU compute to the training here, but it's not going to cause us to get that much more gains on how good the AI is. We have to do architecturally different things with these neural networks now to make them perform better. So, just in general, we are still looking at a situation of slowdown, right? Maybe it's not as like horrible as it seemed at first. It might not be, as crashy crash as it was when Trump first came out with the tariffs, but that was just a 90-day pause, right? We're going to revisit this in another 2.5 months. We're coming back to the same spot, and we just have to see from there. But there are still fundamental headwinds against the economy. There's we still don't have the big expansion of liquidity necessary to drive this thing to truly new epic heights. So we've got this languishing going on here. So that's why this macro crash is still on, bro.
Right, and it does look like we could enter a very serious recession. Right, economy can tank. People won't be able to pay their mortgages, type thing.
I mean, quote me on it. I say we're already in a recession. It's already here. The recession is already here. It just won't be apparent until after.
It feels like it could, it could hit harder than people are thinking. With the tariffs affecting like every purchase that a middle-class person is making while trying to maintain their homes, their mortgages. A lot of people are locked into low interest rates with their mortgages, but there's a lot of other expenses that are going up, and just for maintaining a house. So, if that starts to slip, housing market starts to go, I don't know. I do feel like we're on the precipice of that. I don't know. I mean, unless Trump eliminates Powell, or Powell can't handle the pressure anymore and just starts to lower interest rates, and then I guess that changes everything. But
I guess we'll have to wait and see. Powell doesn't sound like he's opposed to lowering rates, though, when the time comes.
Right. He just doesn't think the date is there yet. But what is this scenario where we lower interest rates, but the 10-year, still essentially, I'm hearing like the 10-year could still potentially go up, right? If everybody's like selling the dollar, right? If the dollar is being sold by China or whatever, and then effectively interest rates for things like homes and stuff wouldn't even go down.
I haven't thought about that too much, but just sort of brainstorming.
I have heard that scenario, and that sounds like a disaster. So like we'd be lowering
China holds some amounts of U.S. bonds. That's true, but I don't think they hold nearly as much as they used to. If China sells their bonds, then yeah, that pushes the price of bonds. That pushes the rates higher. But you have to realize too, if the economy is crashing, or if the economy is in this bear market, recession, whatever, then you're going to end up in this situation where institutions, American institutions, family offices, et cetera, are going to be exiting risk markets for safety of bonds. And currently bonds are, the long-term yield is nearly 5%. So that's pretty good. Like that's really good. Like if you have a big chunk of money and you're just holding bonds and you're getting paid 5% per year for that maturity, that's really good. So that action of U.S. Institutions and maybe probably European institutions as well, buying U.S. bonds, that would tend to push the yields lower. If if the Fed is going to lower rates, it's just very likely that the rest of the yield curve is going to follow it. It always has. Like, I know that that's a little bit dubious to say, well, it always has, so it always will. But the simple fact is that the yield curve is always followed or anticipated where the Fed was going, right? So sometimes yields start falling before the Fed moves because everybody knows the Fed is about to lower rates. Like you can see this here back in 2000, yields were already coming down. The Fed then lowered rates because everyone knew the Fed was going to lower rates. So the bond market, actually, believe it or not, despite being really boring, does have these kind of intricate sort of feedback and feed forward mechanisms that affect yield prices or yield rates.
The bonds. So complex.
My bonds.
UTXO tip 25 cents. Did we hit this one?
We
Salt
did not.
is salt is no longer money. Neither is silver. China was among the last to realize this and got burned. So now they're going all into gold. That's why the GSR is so high.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point, UTXO. Silver's demonetized. It's not coming back. Not anytime soon, at least.
Has the dollar topped?
What do you mean by topped? Like the Dixie?
in terms of its dominance, right?
Oh, yeah, gotcha. Maybe in relative terms, probably not in absolute terms, because the economy is always in general, in long term, the economy is always expanding. But yeah, I mean, so just to touch on what UTXO said real quick. Yeah, that's a fundamentally the fact that silver is demonetized, people realize it's not coming back, and the move into gold, like that's actually a really good speculation or idea about why there's such a movement here into gold, why gold is doing so well. And as we talked about, that chart for long term has been bullish, right? The gold versus silver chart has been bullish for a very long time now, over very long time frames. So yeah, this chart is probably going to continue to be bullish over long time frames. Still though, it's just in terms of trading and in terms of asset allocation, rotation, you would still look for opportunities to get on the opposite side of that, to try and catch a bid where silver outperforms gold for some period of time. But yeah, so thanks for bringing that up, UTXO.
And I saw some tweet. I don't know how accurate this is. I think it was a little off, but the idea still remains that the SIPS network outperformed Swift, had more volume, or is passing Swift. I don't know if that's actually the case, but just in theory, it seems it sounds like it's going up in usage, and it's catching up to Swift if it hasn't already. That seems like a big indicator as well that the globe is moving away from the dollar as the essentially medium of exchange.
Yeah, I need to look at that. Actually, I wrote that down just now to take a look at that. I can get back to you next week on try to verify whether or not that is true or not.
I mean, so overall, big picture, it does feel like we're entering that transitional period where big shifts are being made as to what the store of value a medium of exchange will be for the world, right? There are always going to be competing ones, right? Obviously the BTC maxis think everybody's going to be holding and using Bitcoin. There's going to be some mix for a very, very long time, but it does feel like there's been a big step change that has happened or is about to happen, where the dollar has perhaps peaked in terms of dominance, and now the transition is happening, like a reshuffling of the deck.
For usage, let's see, for trade purposes, probably in relative terms, in terms of dominance. Yes, that's probably the case for trade imbalances, for settling trade deficits. However, for reserves, the United States dollar is at the top, and it's probably going to stay there for a while. There's just no other currency that there's no other currency that people want to use for their central bank reserves other than the dollar. Like, yes, some amount of other currencies are kept on central banks as reserves, but it's the dollar. It's still like 54%. I need to verify that. It's been maybe like 3 or 4 months since I checked that, so we get new numbers, like slowly every quarter. So it just depends on what we're looking at. But yeah, I mean, I think you're right. Yeah, there is some backing off of the dollar dominance, but these things happen so slowly. So I wouldn't expect that necessarily to just fall off a cliff here.
I'm hoping for the fall off the cliff. Not that I want to see. I just want to see the transition. I don't want to see America get hurt out of this. My hope is that they respond, right? They pivot, right? Because if we do start to go through this phase change, it's a moment where Trump does the right thing. He could save the dominance, right? It would have to be things like pivot towards rebacking the dollar with gold or some combination of gold and crypto. I'm kind of hoping for that moment, and then basically the dollar is forced to try to compete.
I wouldn't hold my breath, bro.
Yeah. I am the eternal optimist, and Bawdy's the pragmatist.
I think we have a couple more XMR chats. So Vincent G
tipped, good TA guys. Yeah, as always. I think we have like the best TA guy in the game. I don't know. I feel like Bawdy's misusing his math skills by by using them for this. But I don't know. It's obviously well worth it if done right. Meta tip 25 cents. Can we ask Bawdy on his philosophy of prepping? How far does that extend to?
My broad philosophy of prepping says spend 5 to 10% of your effort as if things might crash. Spend your other 90 to 95% of your effort as if things are not going to crash. Because like 99% of the time, things are not going to crash. Like whether that's, prepping for the apocalypse or prepping for a market crash, etc. You really want to just assume 95% that things in the next 10, 20 years, 30 years are going to be the same as they've always been, relatively speaking. And then you just that little extra 5%, that little extra 10%, because in a true emergency scenario, a little bit of prepping goes a very long way. However, let's suppose that you spend, 50% of your efforts prepping. It could very well be the case that some emergency event happens and then your shit just gets confiscated. Some roving band of marauders, thieves come and just take all your shit, right? And what happened? You just prepped for them. Or it could be the government, right? They're like, hey, this guy has been building a bunker. We need to get underground. Just go take his bunker. Go get some guns and get in there. So yeah, I mean, you just need to understand that like in truly emergency scenarios, crazy situations can happen. So prep a little bit, but don't prep a shitload unless you really just have some alpha and you really just know that it's about to go down, right? Okay, in that case,
Sheldon tip 50 cents. Bawdy, I suspect the Fed is. Wait, did we get this one already?
No, I don't think so.
I suspect the Fed is no longer the sun, but now a planet orbiting the banking system, and interest rates are actually a result of interbank counterparty risks. Banks make their own liquidity, and the Fed is not that in control.
It is the case that banks print like 90 or 95% of the money. So people are like, oh, the Fed's inflating, the Fed's printing money. It's like, well, they're providing the conditions by which money in banks can inflate, right? They're providing the reserves. That would be right. Sorry, they're providing the environment by which the banks can inflate. But with fractional reserve, the whole point is that banks are the ones actually deciding when to inflate. So there is definitely truth to that. But the Fed does kind of steer the ship, if you will. Like there is, they kind of give these broad conditional changes to the market.
And shortwave tip 25 cents. Cakewallet is finally back on F-Droid. Very cool. Yeah, I didn't realize it was down, or I guess I don't know. That didn't cross my radar, so that's cool. Very good, very good. Yeah, and Cakewallet's had a ton of updates. Background sync being one of the biggest ones that happened recently. It's not on iPhone yet, but it's kind of a breakthrough in terms of user experience with Cake. So very exciting news there. Bawdy, thank you so much, man. I'm hoping can you stick around? I would love for you to be a part of this Q&A with Jackie if you're able to stick around.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Sweet. All right, Tux, let's move it along. We'll bring Jackie up from OpenEnet with their recent CCS proposal to build a MoneroSpace Decentralized satellite network for 30K XMR. That's like $6 million in Monero. It would be the biggest Monero CCS ever funded if it were to get funded. So we don't really know what we're getting into here, so we're going to bring Jackie up and we're going to suss them out as a community.
All right. Let's do it. Thanks, Bawdy.
The Monerotopia guest segment is sponsored by Cakewallet. Store, send, receive, and exchange your Monero and Bitcoin safely on iOS and Android too. Cakewallet is open source, and you always control your own keys.
All right, are you ready? Let's get everybody on stage here.
Okay, so I've been made aware that Jackie is going to be presenting on his slides because he can't speak English.
Okay.
So any questions that you want to ask him in the private chat so that way he can translate it.
Oh, okay. So if he won't verbally understand us.
Can you hear me speaking?
Yes. Hi, Jackie. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine. Thanks. Now now let me show you a video. Please wait a moment.
Okay, Jackie. This is I'm highly enjoying it. Guys, like, retweet. Let's blow this up. We have 163 live viewers right now. Go ahead, Jackie.
Let me know which screen I need to share.
Maybe the sound. Does he have sound that should be playing?
Well, he's got 4 different screens. Oh, there it is. Sorry, there it is. I found the video.
Okay.
Is it gonna play?
Give us 1 sec. Well, you don't have it up on stage right now.
Oh, there we go. Yep. I'll go ahead and play it right now.
Yeah, add it to stage.
Well, I did. It's not showing up.
No. Oh, I see it loading. Here we go. Is this starting from the beginning? But Tux, are you trying to upload this video?
No. It's just having trouble. I'm not even touching anything.
No, but is this video like uploaded or you're playing a link?
It's something that he uploaded on StreamYard.
Oh shit.
So trying to stream from That's okay. I can switch to the Oh, that was it. That was the whole video basically. I can switch
My internet is not super good. Okay, and before we begin, let me remind you that the government will only let you say what it wants you to see. Okay, let's get started now. I will put 2 pictures in screen because my English and internet broadband are not very good.
Are you using Tor right now?
Yes. Hello, Monero friends. Hi, everyone. I'm Jackie on the OpenEnet team. Yes, I'm 12, but don't let that trick you. I've been coding since I was 8, and today I'm here to talk about something way cooler than my school project, putting Monero nodes in SethNet. The big idea, SethNets for general privacy. Imagine being in a space with no internet or worse, where the government blocks it. How do you send Monero? Our plan: nudge tiny satellites into no Earth orbit. This is not about the size of a small suitcase will orbit 500 kilometers above us, forming a space-based network. They'll act like floating mineral hotspots, using laser and radios to route transactions worldwide, even in areas with no ground internet or heavy censorship. Don't worry, we're starting with Earth's orbit. Mars can wait. Why Monero needs a space network? Monero stands for financial freedom, right? But many places won't still lack internet access or face censorship. Satellites work above both clouds and censorship, letting people in remote village on ships or in blocked regions use Monero without restriction. Think of them as a space.
You want me to read it? You want me to read it, and then we could.
Yeah, I was about to say I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can,
Yeah. Artux, you want to do it? You can probably see it better than me.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, let me go ahead and do that. Yeah. Let's see where you left off. I think it was designed to satellite hardware, right? Yeah, so I think this is.
Do you want to take it from the top, Tux, and just run through it?
Yeah, I can do that. I think it's
pulled
directly from the CCS, right?
Yeah. No, I think this is like he wrote this up for this. Can you just read it? Can you read off the screen?
My internet is not good. Can you put your talk in
Yes,
in
our
chat?
questions in the private chat. Yes. Tux is gonna read. Tux is gonna read what you have here, just so everybody can clearly understand it.
Okay. So, hello, Monero friends. Hi, everyone. I'm Jackie, the youngest space enthusiast on the OpenEnet team. Yes, I'm 12, but don't let that trick you. I've been, oops, the logo is cutting off top here. I've been 8 and I've been coding since I was 8. And today I'm here to talk about something way cooler than my school projects, putting Monero nodes in satellites. The big idea, satellites for global privacy. Imagine being in a place with no internet or worse, where the government blocks it. How do you send Monero? Our plan, launch tiny satellites into low Earth orbit. These satellites, about the size of a small suitcase, will orbit 500 kilometers above us, forming a space-based network. They'll act like floating Monero hotspots using lasers and radios to route transactions worldwide, even in areas with no ground internet or heavy censorship. Don't worry, we're starting with Earth's orbit. Mars can wait. 2. Why Monero needs a space network. Monero stands for financial freedom, right? But many places still lack the internet access or face censorship. Satellites work above both clouds and censorship, letting people in remote villages, on ships, or in blocked regions use Monero without restrictions. Think of them as a space backup for the network. If the ground systems fail, satellites keep transactions moving like a safety net for your privacy. 3. How we'll build it. 4 fun stages. We've broken the project into 4 kid-friendly steps. Yes, I helped design them. Design the satellite hardware, which is number 1. Create blueprints for radiation-resistant hardware. Imagine a computer wearing space armor to survive cosmic rays. Inform our team, engineers, coders, and me. Proof that anyone can contribute. The milestone is 7,000 XMR. Oh, this is the first milestone, which is 7,000 XMR to finalize the hardware design, publish a list of radiation hardened components, and introduce our certified team. 2 is develop satellite software and compliance. Sorry, taking a swig of water. Write special software for satellites to run Monero nodes while following global radio rules. We don't want space traffic jams. The next milestone is 8,000 XMR, which is to build a software prototype and apply for international spectrum licenses, making our satellites space legal. Number 3, test like a space explorer. Build a prototype, test it in a thermal vacuum chamber, a space oven that mimics extreme temperatures, and see if it survives irradiation, like giving the satellite a superhero test. Milestone 10,000 XMR to complete lab tests, get international certifications, and ensure the satellite can withstand space conditions. Number 4, launch an open collaboration. Launch a developer testnet, plan the first satellite launches, and open source everything so anyone can build their own nodes. Yes, you too. No rocket science degree needed. That milestone is 5,000 XMR to start the testnet, partner with aerospace companies, and turn our plans into reality. Number 4, meet our team, volunteers on a mission. Aerospace experts, team members who've worked on real satellites, they know how to keep our tech from failing in space. Blockchain developers, seasoned Monero coders, making sure satellite nodes are fast, secure, and efficient. Me, I help with research, translate documents, and remind the team to take breaks. Adults really forget to eat when they're coding. We're all volunteers, not a company. That means we're here because we believe in Monero's mission, not for profit. And yes, I still have a bedtime. Don't tell my mom I'm up this late. All right, so that was number 1. And here's the second part of that. Number 4, meet our team, volunteers on a mission. Aerospace experts, team members who've worked on real satellites. Oh, wait, I think that's... Oh, wait, that's the part that I just read. So the next part is, why trust us? We're open and transparent. Everything's open source. All hardware, designs, code, and financial reports are on Gitty. You can even see my rough sketches. Weekly updates. We'll post project progress videos, test results, and budgets online. I like a vlog for space and privacy lovers. Your feedback is always welcome. Be nice, though. Collaborative by nature. We're already working with Douglas from Moneronodo.com to connect his ground nodes with their satellites. Together, we're making Monero unstoppable. Before you ask, a space joke. Why did the satellite bring a blanket? Because it heard space was cold at night. Okay. Now let's get to your questions. Wondering how we'll avoid collisions in orbit, or why a 12-year-old is leading this project? I might need help from our engineers on tough ones, but I'll do my best to answer. Closing. Join us in building the future. Today, we're not just talking about satellites, we're creating a censorship-resistant global network for Monero. Whether you're a developer, student, or just someone who believes in privacy, here's how you can help. Contribute tech. Fork our Gitty repo and start with small fixes. Every contribution matters. Join the team. Send your resume to admin@openenet.cn with space for Monero in the subject line. Spread the word. Tell others about our project and why space-based network matters for privacy. Thank you for listening. Let's build a Monero network that's beyond borders and censorship, where freedom and privacy reaches new heights. Literally. All right.
All right. I will say off the bat, there is no official collaboration between Nodo and this project at this point. I did throw it out there when I was emailing with him, like, hey, would it make sense if this were legit, would it make sense for Nodos to be involved? So let me just make that clear. But hey, if it is legit, then by all means. So Jackie, that's what we're trying to find out today. You're probably not completely understanding me right now. I guess, Tux, what's first question here? I mean, how do we even see what they've developed so far? They said they've already been posting stuff. It's all open source.
Yeah, let me see if I can find the open.
Where is that
ENet site real quick?
Okay. Let me ask. So, like, questions for Jackie here. I mean, how did? I'll type them in here, Jackie. How did you get involved in Monero? How did you and the team get involved in Monero? Why Monero? All right, so Jackie, I just sent you a question. So this is the CCS, right? Is there any?
That's CCS.
Okay, please wait.
Okay. Jackie is coming up with a response to how did you and the team get involved in Monero? Why Monero?
Oh, thanks. Tony sent me a link to the.
And
Sorry, go ahead, Jackie.
in 1 year ago, we make a we make a like FLARUM and FORUM in our website, but not Chinese people use but not many Chinese people use Monero. So this project is not good. So we stop it. We choose Monero because Monero is a pretty sweet.
Jackie, if you want, you could post the response
Pretty sweet.
in the private chat.
Because the nature of Monero coin is very attractive to me. Yes.
I don't know if there's a better way. If you can.
We
Yeah,
have just established the software repository, and that's my proposal target. And the repository has not been fully in IIT.
So there's nothing in the repository yet?
He posted a response. He said, "We have just established a software repository, and as my proposal suggests, the repository has not been fully initiated, so it's a new project."
Okay. What have they built so far?
That is hard to.
What
say.
have you guys accomplished so far? Yeah, if he just wants to post the text, we can read it.
Okay, he said, "We just created CCS and informed my supervisor, who was willing to recommend a few friends for me."
I don't know. I have a lot of questions.
Let's look at openenet.cn. Let's take a look at this website.
Okay.
See what's on here.
We all come from Stanford. Okay.
Where does it say that?
He's 12 years old.
Oh, that's what he said. Oh.
Jackie, tell us about yourself. The website was just built last night, and there were some areas that were not fixed. All right, now tell us more about the team involved. Can we see links to them and their work? Let's see. What's your current take on all this stocks right now?
I have no idea. There's a lot of information on the CCS, but it's hard to gauge like where this is exactly coming from, because there doesn't seem to be anything on these websites that are linked. I thought this was an established like team or company. I don't even know what OpenEnet is.
See. I mean the CCS it doesn't really say that much, the CCS though at the end of the day.
Let's see what the comments say.
It's proposing a grand idea.
It is, but it doesn't seem like it has people or like a real organization behind it.
Jackie response, I was like, Jackie, tell us more about the team involved. Can we see links to them and their work? I don't have any information about them.
No information.
Okay. Why would the Monero community donate 30,000 Monero to you if we don't As I stated in my CCS report, we will be making the design drawings and software publicly available, which can reduce costs. You can also launch a satellite. I'm asking, why would the Monero community donate 30,000 Monero to them if we don't know if they have the ability to achieve this? I mean, it would literally be the largest Monero CCS ever funded. And it's pretty light on details. It's very, very much trust us, bro. And right now we're talking to the 12-year-old who is, I guess, the communication director for the team, claiming they're all from Stanford.
He said maintenance costs will increase by 0.03% with 0.015% deducted from transaction fees. Who's this other guy, though? This guy who opened the repository? It's supposed to be somebody different.
Yeah, that's somebody different. That's I guess the guy leading the project. Please provide us more information as to why we should trust that this is a legitimate proposal that can actually be achieved if funded. Oh, we have some XMR chats too.
So let's see. This is too distracting. Understandably, relevant Peter tip 50 cents. Do we have any concerns about adding the already significant amount of space junk in our night skies? Although I'm no fan of Starlink for this reason that Genie's already out of the bottle, why not explore ways we could privately piggyback? Do you want to ask him that directly? Or is that too broad of a question?
Yeah, I mean, you could throw it in there, see what kind of response he gives us. Last I asked him is, please provide us more information as to why we should trust that this is a legitimate proposal and that can actually be achieved if funded.
He said the team information will be released in Q3 2025.
Okay. So I mean, he's what is his first milestone?
The first milestone is satellite node hardware design and team formation, which he wants 7,000 XMR just to start.
So you want to be paid 7,000 XMR up front before you even establish a team? I mean, is it a scam, or is it just not well thought out? Is it a 12-year-old using AI to just,
This is all
like,
just ChatGPT spit it out.
Is it?
No, it
Right?
seems specific, like very specific. It doesn't seem like AI, but it's just kind of it's obscure. It's a little obscure, and there's an obvious language barrier that's making it really hard to gain some legitimacy. And then Abby Rose tipped 25 cents. My stepson is asking if this will help prove the Earth is a globe. What, the Monero satellites?
Yeah, definitely will. We can confirm with our own satellite network. He's saying, so his answer to I asked him, you want us to give you 7,000 Monero up front, you don't even have a team. He said this includes some satellite design costs. Okay, so still not really answering the question.
So additionally, we will form a team before this time.
Yes. Okay.
I think we got to see that team before any amount of money is thrown at.
The community is going to want to see a team before any donations are made.
Watch, it's just going to be people from his family. I'm just kidding. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
I mean, it sounds like, he's saying not a lot of people use Monero in China, and they want to make this as a way, right, that people there could use Monero. Yeah,
because I know China is very. That. I mean, that part's true. Is that like Monero's not popular in China?
Yeah, of course.
Like at least publicly, I think there's a lot of people that do use Monero in China, but publicly, from a public facing standpoint, it's not, because people who use Monero in China are not going to talk about it because it's a very no thing. I don't know if it's outright against the law, but a lot of things are very no in China in general. Privacy, tech, definitely not. So in that sense, it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's not on like China doesn't have any even exchanges, right? Like it's
not for Monero.
And then obviously China's never been very friendly to crypto. Banned mining at various points in history. Is Bitcoin mining banned now in China? I don't even know. I forget. No, right?
I haven't kept up with that. At one point, they tried to ban some of it. All right, so he said another thing. Tell the audience that they can also ask me questions in the CCS comment section. Yes, we will form a team on Q2 to Q3.
I mean, the Chinese government is terrified of crypto because they don't want, people to move their wealth outside of their control, right? They could skirt.
I mean, no government wants that to happen, but the Chinese government
I feel like
just
China's
has more grip.
Yeah, has much more of a grip and is willing to implement whatever they need to implement to achieve that goal. The U.S. is just less obvious about it. So he's...
Yeah, it sounds like we just need to wait until he can... Oh, looks like he dropped off. Yeah, it sounds like we need to wait until he can, get some more written info out about the specifics about the team who might be on this project, because there's no way in hell that people are going to... I mean, maybe people will throw money at this anyway, but I certainly would not unless I can get some more... more hints about it being legitimate.
Nobody's funding this at this point.
7,000 XMR before it even starts.
Yeah, it was step one. They came on Monerotopia.
Or sorry, the milestone. Once they do get satellite node hardware designs and team formation, then they earn 7,000 XMR. So that's how it would be.
He's saying tell the audience that they can also ask me questions in the CCS comments. So guys, go ask your questions there. Please do. Let's
there's
get
a
some
lot
feedback.
there's a bunch of questions already, some conversation. So go look through there.
Yes, we will form a team, QT, Q3. So maybe they're coming out of this now, they're realizing they need to get the team together first before they get any Monero donations. Yes. Don't worry, I won't be overly involved in the project. I will find an assistant. Jackie, no worries. We don't care. Be involved. We just don't really understand what roles everybody's taking. Oh, sorry, internet is not good. All right, so cool that Jackie came on. Sounds like a very ambitious project.
Yeah,
at
it sounds
point,
interesting.
At this point, I won't call it a complete scam. They just need to continue to try to prove themselves as to what they're working on.
I mean, they can't really scam that much, though, can
No.
they? Because it is a CCS, and only the controllers of the funds
only
are
get
going
paid
to
out,
award it based on the milestone. And the first milestone is going to be satellite node hardware design and team formation for 7,000 XMR, which is a lot of. I think you said this is the largest, like XMR-wise CCS ever opened.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Exactly.
Wow, 30,000.
So I don't know why you need money up front to get the team together. I guess they want to show that they have funding when they bring the team on. So I don't know. We need to be more convinced.
Chat's saying he's a scammer, but guys, remember that he doesn't just get the 30,000 XMR immediately. He gets awarded based on a milestone. So I don't even know if they get any to start. I think they have to do the first milestone before they even get any at all.
Yes.
It's not like you're just giving money into this person's pocket. It's going to the CCS, which is controlled by Monero core team. So
right, but we don't want that first milestone to be something like, look,
something
and
arbitrary.
It's super simple and
7,000 XMR is still that's a lot of money.
We are the team
that we're just pissing away.
Yeah, so that's a
it's
ton.
Still smaller than
that's a
Zcash
ton.
dev text.
You know what I could do with 7,000 XMR? I could freaking blow up. Blow up XMR Bazaar. XMR Nodo. Just Nodo project alone, 7,000 XMR. We would do big things. Yeah, well, if people are trying to fund things like this, we have been thinking about that, doing a CCS for Nodo or something, especially after we saw this. But
imagine this 12-year-old scams the Monero community for 7,000 XMR. That would make us look really, really, really stupid. This 12-year-old from China barely speaks English, scams.
Well, right now that's not happening, right?
No,
clearly,
that has no.
Clearly,
it's just funny to think
exposed.
about.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think they're trying to show their camera too. Which I guess that I don't know if that would even be safe for them to do, but I think they turned on their camera at one point during the stream. So I don't know. Interesting. That was a little sorry, that was a really weird guest segment, guys.
Yeah. No, but whatever. Dude, it's amazing. It's amazing that we're that accessible, right? I am very happy that he came on. He tried. Unfortunately, he's in China, right? He's can't speak English. So I think it's great that he came up here. And we'll suss this out, and we'll see what happens next. If we see more development, they're genuinely answering the questions, and then they adjust their CCS. They come up with a team and show their team before they raise any money. We'll continue to give it the benefit of the doubt. I wouldn't cut them off yet.
No, not immediately. We just need to see. We're gonna have to see a lot of stuff. For it to seem legitimate. It's such a big proposal. It is. I'll have to actually spend time looking at this, and as well as other people, to actually determine if is this someone actually writing stuff out that's meaningful, or is it just kind of a bunch of I don't know, boilerplate. So yeah.
Fairly reasonable investor. I'd give the overall effort a 3 out of possible 1,000. Okay. Fairly saying the sativa must be too good. Hey man, I would love to have a Monero satellite network, especially one launched by a 12-year-old anonymously from China. dream come true. But yeah, right now I would estimate the odds as a 3 out of 1,000 as well at this point of it being.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, if they want to have someone communicate about this project, they need to get someone that's a native English speaker who can actually communicate to, because like the world speaks English for the most part, and everyone who's going to be sending money to this project speaks English. So they need to have someone who, as much as it's cool to have a 12-year-old air quote super coder communicate this to us, you have to be able to convey what's going on better. So,
and it's exciting to see that somebody is even just pitching this to the Monero community using the Monero CCS, right? I mean, obviously we don't see a bunch of junk AI produced projects where people are asking for millions of dollars. But it's encouraging to see that people are seeing Monero as a project worthy to work on and trying to, add utility to it. So
very interesting.
We shall see. We shall see. All right, guys, your guess is as good as ours at this point. We'll leave it at that. Thank you, Jackie. We appreciate it. I mean, he's off stage right now. Should we bring him up stage? Like, I assume he's
is he
done,
still
right?
backstage? Yeah.
Jackie, if you're there,
there's just some images. Yeah.
Oh wait, this. Jackie, we'll leave it here. Is there anything you want to say to close things out? I think Jackie is just.
Okay, please wait.
Oh, please wait.
Okay. Oh boy. Did he type anything else?
I send in Deadpool. I'm not SAAMMER. Yes.
He's saying I'm sending Deadpool. I'm not a scammer. What does that mean? Tux, you know what that means?
I have no idea.
I'm sending Deadpool. I'm not a scammer. Does anybody listening know how that should be interpreted? Bring on Hawk Dog Girl next week.
Hell nah.
I definitely have her on if she was doing a Monero CCS. Doesn't mean we have to accept it, but I'd love to see what she thinks she could offer the Monero community.
No, it's me.
Okay, did he say something? Let's see. I'll provide a unified response to tonight's questions to CCS. I really don't know what he meant by I'm sending Deadpool. I'm not a scammer. We don't know what that means. All right, Jackie, we're going to close it out. Jackie, we are closing it out. The Deadpool route has nothing to do with Monero talk. We don't understand. We will close this segment. All right.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Jackie. Yeah, we're gonna leave it there. I think we've given that enough time. All right. If they start to prove themselves in other ways, happy to have you guys back on. Ideally, with maybe a better method for translating, you could either get somebody else on, or we could maybe use some better AI setup where you could just live chat in there and it will read what you're saying. We definitely have the tech for that.
We could do a setup. Someone's like screen sharing, like Google Translate or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
There's a better way to do it, but would have to plan for that.
Yes. All right. Let's leave it at that. Worst thing I've heard in a long time. Obvious scam. Move on.
The chat does not like it very much.
Monerotopia has a pretty low bar, guys. I mean, this is like we're balancing permissionless and accessibility with dealing with things like that. We don't want to miss the 1 in a billion. But I don't think that's it. Tux, let's move it along. Let's do the news, and then we'll have viewers on stage.
All right, let's do it.
The Monerotopia Weekly News segment is sponsored by WizardSwap.io, a non-custodial cryptocurrency exchange.
Tony.
Hey guys. What's
Tony. Fairly reasonable saying credibility skills matter. Yes, you're saying we shouldn't even brought them up. I mean, I disagree. I think that was well worth it.
Look, I mean, it's like that's why Doug has two separate like shows. He's got Monero Talk for more proper like setup podcast with established people, and then he's got Monerotopia guest segment for, people who want to come up and show something or talk about something who's newer,
It's very accessible here. We are the town square of Monero. This kid jumped up in the town square, started talking. Some people think he's crazy. So you're free to ignore him as he's talking. But this is the town square. So obviously, if you're going to come on here and just start like berating people and talking garbage and you're just complete trolling, we'll kick you off. But if you're attempting to say something reasonable with regards to Monero, digital cash, you're welcome. Tony, what do you think? What's your takeaway so far?
So my problem is that even if it actually comes to fruition, and when I first saw the CCS proposal and I saw the amount of money, my eyes kind of jumped a little bit. It's like 30,000 Monero. But even if it comes to fruition, we live in a time where war starts to pivot from just being on Earth to outer space. So I think even if that satellite actually existed, countries like the US, China would just shut it down or something like that, like actually bring it down. That's what I would.
Right. If the adversary is ultimately the state, they would be able to take out satellites anyway. But I don't know.
So I mean, yeah, it's cool. Like it's very ambitious. Like when I was 12, I was definitely not doing this or trying to. I was playing Minecraft or whatever. So it's ambitious. He should have had a way more. Like his GitHub was empty. Like there was nothing. No.
Right.
Absolutely nothing. They just made a CSS and then asked for 30K, and so I don't know.
Maybe it's a 12-year-old just dreaming big, some like really super smart 12-year-old that like, hey, thinks he can figure it out if you give him enough money. But yeah,
Doug really wants us to be like the new super genius that we've discovered from the depths of China.
We got Luke Parker. Now we got
That's what I was thinking,
Jackie
actually.
from China.
Yeah, because
for context, 30,000 XMR is 6.4 million USD.
Just give it. Let's take a chance. Let's see what he can do. Give the kid a chance. Come on.
The most is just gonna. Yeah, I don't know. It's it's funny. Maybe like the pressure of that much money is gonna make him pump some great ideas. Maybe that's what he's wishing. But what he also could have done is just share his screen on Google Translate, and so we can see, like, he can just type in Chinese and we can see the direct.
Yeah,
that would have been a bit better. But he's 12. I mean, whatever. It was interesting. Like I enjoyed it. I'm very doubtful. I'm not gonna donate to this anytime soon.
No,
but
I don't think it's gonna make it to the donation stage. At this point, unless they answer all the questions. But
yeah.
All right, Tony, take it away. Take it away with the news. I think we have a decent news week this week.
Yep, we have a lot of good stuff. But again, like, just even if we had one, I think it would just be literally brought down. Like it happens. Like, for example, I know there was some occurrence where I think Russia had some satellite attacking the US one, or I don't know, like all kinds of stuff. So it would happen. But anyway, guys, let's get into the new segment. The first one being, happy.
Starting with, you're getting everybody's attention on this one. Leah, is she another one? Is she real or not? I don't know. I mean, she's like,
yeah. What am I looking? Is this a necklace? Is this real or is this like an AI?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Aaliyah has done amazing work for XMR Bazaar and the Monero community in general via XMR Bazaar or whatever else she's working on. But yeah, I don't know if she's real, but she's wishing us all a happy Monero birthday with her Monero necklace.
It's cool. It's a cool.
That's actually cool. She should sell that on XMR Bazaar. I wonder where I guess she just made it herself, I assume.
Yeah, but that's cool. And yes, she said Monero is a unity of hearts and minds, brave souls, unafraid of the state, who prioritize freedom over profits and will take gains too. But yeah, so happy 11th anniversary Monero. We have another one here from the Fastone. That's another one. And then there's another post. This is on the Monero run. Happy 11th birthday. Some people, they decided to participate in the Monero run. That's when you just take all your Monero from the centralized exchange and you withdraw it and you put it in a way better source. But
did anybody do that? I don't know. Like, I feel like everybody should just have done that already, right, guys? Like, Monero run every day. Do not keep Monero on an exchange, right?
Yeah, not just once a year.
I keep a small amount, a very small amount on the exchange.
Yeah, I don't have any, so I couldn't contribute, but definitely, guys, if you still have anything, any Monero or any crypto in a centralized exchange, Binance, MEXC, whatever, take it out, put it in your favorite cold storage, and
you can withdraw it into our today's sponsor, Cakewallet,
which we're gonna actually pivot into right now. So Cakewallet introduces Monero wallet groups, new seed formats, and more. And I want to talk about it a little bit, and I guess Tux, maybe you want to take
yes, over it. I would love to talk about this. Thank you, Tony.
It's very cool. Yeah, actually, you go
on. Oh, do you have something to say?
Oh, just that it's very cool, and that now you can have multiple wallets, and they'll operate under the same seed instead of having a different seed from, say, your Litecoin, your Monero, your Bitcoin. So you can have it all under one seed. But it doesn't mean that you need to do it all the time. Like you can have your wallet group, and then you can have your other individualized wallets with their own seeds. So you don't have to do this all the time. But I think that it's a very nice feature. And somebody said, if I can find a comment, and then I will let you take on it. Yes, somebody said, ease of improvement, yes. Good security, no. Why? This is like using the same password for all of your accounts. A bad idea, because if it is compromised, you lose everything, which is a very, very good point. But as SethForPrivacy said,
here's a. Oh, sorry. Yeah, let me. Well, actually, he didn't include something important here. I'll go ahead and talk over this if you don't mind going to the top of the screen real quick to the page.
Yeah, sure.
And I will say, guys, too, we had a great conversation on this on Monero Talk on Thursday. So if anybody wants to go back and watch that, I can go into detail. But yeah, Tux.
So yeah, this is actually a feature we've had for a while. Monero wallet groups, we've had it. I think for since late last year. But the biggest thing that it didn't work with was Monero. It didn't work with Monero wallets. But now we're actually able to derive not a poly seed, unfortunately. It is a legacy 25-word seed from a BIP39 seed. So Monero wallet is not using the BIP39 seed directly. However, it is deriving a 25-word legacy seed from a BIP39 seed. So you can use a BIP39 seed 12-word seed phrase that will let you use the same seed phrase for Bitcoin, Litecoin, Monero, Ethereum, Polygon, Solana, Tron, I think a couple other things. The minor exceptions to this case right now are Bawdyanarchist, Decred, and Xano. Those three you cannot use. You cannot derive seed from BIP39 for those three wallet types. But Monero is big joining this. So now you can use Monero within the wallet groups features. You can have Monero be part of the same seed as a bunch of other wallets if you want. And as Tony was saying with that comment, yeah, it might be a little bit of a security concern if you're trying to separate funds by different seed phrases, if that's what you're trying to do throughout different wallet types. Remember, you can only have one wallet type for the seed anyway. It's not like you can use multiple Monero wallets with the same seed in the same wallet group. However, you can add a passphrase to each wallet that's in the seed group. So you could have the same seed for all of the wallets, but they each have a different passphrase that's used for the seed, which would provide that extra layer of security. So I think doing that is the most ideal scenario. And that way you only have one seed to worry about. And if you want that extra security, you can add a passphrase to each of them. And then you have your nice wallet group, and that helps you separate funds out even easier. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to kind of merge our single wallet experience, which is what we've had for the longest time, with also some of what a lot of other wallets do, which is where you create an air quote wallet and has all of these different currencies inside. Now you can kind of do both, and you could have, let's say, one wallet group that's only KYC funds. You could have another wallet group that's like anonymous funds, or one that's for spending, one that's for receiving, whatever. You can do it however you want, but big feature, very useful for people who want things to be kept a little more separate, or they just want to use one seed and keep track of one seed. And that's what you can do now with Monero.
Yeah, that's big. That's very nice that you can put an individual passcode on every single. That's really cool. I didn't know this actually. That's really cool. But okay, so then we showed this last week, so I guess I'll show it again this week. But this is amazing to see from DFX Swiss and with OpenCryptoPay, and which has been directly integrated into Cakewallet in this upcoming release. So let's watch it.
Thank you very much.
That's really cool.
Very
and
awesome.
super easy. Yeah. You
That was
scan a QR.
Constantine testing out OpenCryptoPay in a test build of Cakewallet.
That's awesome. And it's just so easy to use, which is very, very important too.
Yeah, it's just another sort of like crypto receiving like platform. It's like a payment standard for merchants to receive crypto. It works a little bit differently than some other ones. But the main use case right now is in Switzerland, because I think they have a platform that will that can convert the crypto directly to CHF, which is the native currency, which of course is useful for a shop if you want to accept crypto but you need the fiat instead. So I think it's more useful right now directly in Switzerland, but I don't see why you couldn't use this anywhere else. You just probably won't have that extra platform that allows you to easily convert to fiat.
Okay, well that's super nice. Yeah. Okay, now moving on. So we're going to talk about Kagi. I think that's how you pronounce this. So this is a post from SethForPrivacy. He said, Kagi is a fantastic privacy-preserving search engine. It's adding Monero payment support. Seth said, by far my favorite search engine, translation tool, and AI chat tool is Kagi, and I've been working with them over the past few months to find the best solution for adding Monero support for payments to their platform. And they are going to implement Monero, and it's going to be coming soon, which is really cool. And he also said that he highly recommends Kagi. It's truly an immense difference from most search engines, privacy preserving, entirely ad-free, and run by an awesome team. So that's really cool.
That's awesome. I'll be very happy to try them out once they do accept Monero. A little while ago, they said that what was it? It was something ridiculous. They needed like 5,000 people to sign a petition before they add Monero. And I think Seth got to them. And then also I just want to mention on the OpenCryptoPay thing as well. I don't know if you saw, there's a news link relating to that where this one particular store in Switzerland is going to accept OpenCryptoPay or crypto payments through OpenCryptoPay on all of their stores. It's called Spar. And that includes Monero. So that means on all of this convenience store that exists in Switzerland, / grocery store, all of their locations accept Bitcoin, Monero, EVM tokens.
That is amazing. That is freaking
That's
amazing.
huge.
Yep. I'm going to try to have, it's DFX, right? That's behind this?
Yeah, DFX.Swiss. Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to try to have them on Monero Talk. I mean, how do we bring this to the States? How do we bring this same system to New York?
Well, like anyone can, it's an open payment standard, so people could use this. I think there's some kind of like platform in the background though for merchants that want to have their funds auto converted to CHF. So that's obviously a Swiss only thing. I'd have to look into the details of the implementation more. They have a website for it. It's just opencryptopay.io.
And Spar is very big too. I just looked it up. So
that's
really
a huge
big.
deal. And it's like
deal.
you see on Watch Your Guru, they're saying, oh, for Bitcoin, but that does include Monero too. You saw Constantine in that video. He literally was at Spar, a Spar store, and he bought some drink with Monero and Cakewallet. So there you go.
Cool. That's really cool. Okay, let's see. Now, so Charles Schwab, CEO, confirms he will launch Bitcoin and crypto trading within 12 months. And I had to look into this deeper. And actually, I don't think I found any news about this when I was looking it up this morning. But then right before the show, I saw a couple articles that were just written, I think. But yeah, so Charles Schwab is going to have crypto coming soon to his platform, and it's going to be within 12 months. So that's huge.
Promptly not use it.
Yeah. But basically, he said, the CEO said that their expectation is that with the changing regulatory environment, we are hopeful and likely to be able to launch direct spot crypto, and our goal is to do that within the next 12 months. And we're on a great path to be able to do that. That's big. So, okay. Now, wow, this one is a big one. So eXch will officially shut down its operations effective May 1st, 2025.
Damn, and that's a blow.
That's really big. So let's go into that. And the Fuzzstone also posted about this too. So let's actually go into, he said it's been a pleasure using your service. Now let's actually go into the official announcement. And I do want to read one part verbatim because I think that is very, very important. But we talked about it a couple of shows ago, and how they were being targeted because a lot of bad actors, such as the North Korean hackers and other ones, have been using this platform to launder money. Now, it doesn't mean, as they also said in this official announcement, doesn't mean that this was the intent of eXch. It wasn't the intent to allow money laundering and terrorism. And they made a very good point, is that, so now that we're being shut down, does it mean that money laundering and terrorism is going to stop just because we are shut down? It's not going to stop. And that was such a good point. But I want to read this part verbatim. I really found it interesting. But they said, our project has shown that it's possible to operate without abusing customers with nonsensical policies, unlike projects that will accept this announcement as a weight lifted off their shoulders, that pretend to believe the false idea that confiscating crypto from customers somehow prevents money laundering, who rely on random and unreliable scoring systems created and operated by companies that are parasites, aiming to extract money from the governments by providing consulting based on the segregation of the crypto space and the blockchain data. If we were to look at these projects from the perspective of preventing money laundering and terrorism financing, any instant exchangers that screen their customer deposits using third-party APIs and appeal to nonsensical AML KYC terms are far from preventing money laundering and terrorism. If they were serious about this, they would need to stop hiding behind shelf offshore companies and start conducting strict due diligence on every customer, which none of them do in reality. The absurdity is compounded by the absolute uselessness of the address score reporting APIs they use, as any of these screening mechanisms can be easily bypassed. And they also said, our project will also demonstrate that, our project will also demonstrate that even without it, this space will continue to have ways and instruments for those engaging in illicit activities to effectively launder their funds. Thus, the goal of stopping eXch under the belief that it may stop all money laundering in the world is ridiculous, and it is ridiculous. It is not going to stop just because they shut down eXch. And well, I guess the ultimate goal is just to KYC the hell out of everybody, and that's how you're going to control it. Of course, eXch didn't want these people, on their platform, these terrorists, to launder their money. But it's I don't know, it's crazy. But yeah, effectively they'll be shut down soon, and yeah, May 1st.
Damn, that one's definitely sad, unfortunate.
Yeah, but again, like, such a good point. It's not gonna stop. money laundering. It's not going to stop terrorism. So it's, again, like a knife. Everybody has a knife. It doesn't mean that we're all killing each other with the knife. We're using it for cooking, whatever. And same with Monero. Monero wasn't made for criminals. It was made to give privacy to everybody. And unfortunately, we do have bad actors in the world that use it. But
did you know that people who do bad things, they breathe the same air that you do?
No, I didn't know.
All the air so that bad people can't survive.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't know that. Well, yeah. So many, yeah. And like, I don't know. Bad people drink water. Good people drink water. Guns don't shoot out themselves. Bad people use guns to shoot other people. You know, all this stuff. But it's just an excuse to shut them down, put KYC, and just regulate everybody, KYC everybody, biometric, every part of your body.
If you want to find other good swap services to use, there's probably some on KYC.not.me. eXch was definitely like the big one that was had a high rating. There's definitely a couple others that have a higher rating as well for swap services.
Yes, actually, I want to go back to something since you mentioned them again. They said, given this, we're announcing a 50 Bitcoin open source fund to support any FOSS projects aiming to enhance the availability of privacy solutions. We hope we can still make a difference. Here are examples of the project we will support: Bitcoin wallets and protocols aiming to preserve user privacy, lightweight clients for wabi-sabi, Thorchain wallets aiming to preserve user privacy, a BISC client, Ethereum wallets and smart contracts aiming to preserve user privacy.
Monero atomic swaps.
Yeah,
That should be.
I mean, I'm sure they would. Now moving on. Hiring Monero fuzzing harness developer. This is a post on Reddit. The person said, I'm a committee member for the 501 Magic Monero Fund, and we're looking to solicit quotes for writing high-quality open-source fuzzing harnesses for the Monero node and what RPC calls. Monero currently has basic fuzzing harnesses, and we would like to expand the coverage starting with the RPC calls to prevent any remote DOS or RC vulnerabilities. The Monero codebase is actively fuzzed by OSS fuzz, so this proposal only requires writing the harnesses, not any discovery or exploit development. So if you're interested or you know somebody that has the skill, we do provide the links so you can go and check them out. Then also, while talking about developer application, I would like to talk about this. This is a big story too. So, and actually, I'm going to go back a couple posts, and we're going to go to the main one from GrapheneOS, and they wrote on X, one of our 2 senior developers has been forcibly detained and conscripted to participate in a war. When the first went missing, we revoked their repository access. As a precaution, we soon learned their disappearance was completely unrelated to GrapheneOS. Our priority has been keeping them safe. So they're looking for a new developer now at GrapheneOS. If you're an experienced AOSP developer interested in working full-time on GrapheneOS in a fully remote position, see grapheneos.org/hiring. And then we're going to go back. And XMR posted about this and said GrapheneOS urgently seeks experienced OSP developers for full-time, fully remote positions due to a force majeure situation. They need devs who can start immediately. Payment in XMR available worldwide. Apply now if you can hit the ground running. And going back again with Ilya, I think that's how you say her name, on X. And she said, thrilled to see a GrapheneOS developer application via XMR Bazaar. So people are actually applying for this position, which is super nice to see. So that's one. And she just had two more people interested. So hopefully they're going to find a developer soon. And I hope that person is okay, the one that is being conscripted to war. They didn't specify what country and what war specifically. So I'm curious about which one, but yeah. Now, JP Morgan says Bitcoin has failed to benefit from safe haven flows back in gold. safe haven demand is lifting gold, but Bitcoin is missing out, according to JP Morgan analyst. Essentially, gold is attracting inflows in both the exchange-traded fund, ETFs, and future markets, while Bitcoin, on the other hand, is being left behind with declining speculative interest in futures and 3 straight months of ETF outflows, the analyst noted. Despite a decline in market breadth and liquidity, gold continues to benefit from safe haven flows in a similar fashion to currencies like the Swiss franc and the yen. The safe havens flows are seen in both the ETF and future spaces, but Bitcoin does not see the same. So that was interesting to see too, that for the past 3 months, Bitcoin ETFs have been seeing outflows and not inflows, and that gold is seeing more and more inflows. So that was interesting. Now, okay, let's go to this video. Jeff Booth said something that we all, I think, agree. I agree that if Bitcoin fails as a medium of exchange, it fails as a store of value, period. Now let's watch this 2.5-minute video.
So if Bitcoin isn't a medium of exchange, it will fail as a store of value. So if you are not using as a medium of exchange, then you're relying on somebody else or a lot of other people to use it as a store of value to be able to protect your wealth. And so again, it comes back to you. What are you making the decision? Maybe you get away with it because a whole bunch of people already made the same call that you are, Robin, that I am, using it as a medium of exchange. Maybe you get away with it, and that's just okay. But you have to understand, because the systems are different, right? We've never lived in a global free market where you could trade with people all over without an intermediary. And the output of that trade was deflation. And think about why that output of that trade has to be deflation. You are part of the network. You only, and I'm not saying Bitcoin here, I'm saying you're part of any trade, you're part of the fabric, and you only choose things that give you more value. And all entrepreneurs have to compete more with and provide more value. So, and they have to compete with what was there before. Otherwise, you won't use them. So that global trade has to be deflation. So you're a node in that. Now, if you take your power and you give your power away to somebody else and say, I'm just this network, and this other one is inflationary, and it stops that from happening, then that system has to stop Bitcoin at some point. And if all of your trade is in that system, and you are not self-custodying, not running an economic node, and all of these trade, then that system will stop Bitcoin in time, because not enough trade, not enough. So the little tiny fees from Lightning and such that then move down to the miners. What if all of those fees are in the centralized system? What will the miners choose? So you are an active participant in this. So when people, like, the simplest thing you could just repeat, if Bitcoin fails as a medium of exchange, it fails as a store of value, period. It will be captured. Say it over and over and over again for anybody who's not listening. And eventually, hopefully, enough people will get it. And why, just like in Bitcoin running a node, they should contribute, or they ought to contribute to the network that's also providing them their store of value.
Those last 30 seconds are gold. I really love it. And indeed, like if I can really spend it, like if it's hard to spend, the fees are high and all of these things, if I can really participate and I'm just holding it like a Pokemon card somewhere, then so it fails as a medium of exchange, and then it also fails as a store of value. And yeah, I do agree with what Jeff Booth said there. I really like what he said. Now, if you're in New York City on May 1st, there's going to be a privacy meetup at Pubkey at 7 p.m. So we provide all the links also if you want to check it out. If you're in the area, New York City, you want to go. And I think it's also sponsored by, yeah, it is. It's sponsored by Cakewallet. So if you can go, if you're in the area, then go.
I'm planning on attending. I'm hoping to attend. So yeah, should be
nice.
Cool. Should be cool.
Yeah, looks like a good time. Last week we talked about real IDs. So let's watch Ron Paul talking about real IDs just before it passed the House decades ago, along with the Patriot Act. It's a 3.5-minute video, but it's worth it. So let's watch it.
Recognized for 3 minutes. I thank the gentleman for yielding, and I ask unanimous consent to revise and extend my remarks. Without objection, so ordered. Mr. Speaker, I rise in support of the rule. I rise also in support of the Sessions Amendment, but I also would like to take this time to make a few comments about why I will be voting against the bill. With the utmost sincerity and the deep conviction, I am quite confident that this bill, if you vote for it, you will be voting for a national ID card. And I know some will argue against that, and they say this is voluntary, but it really can't be voluntary. If a state opts out, nobody's going to accept their driver's license. So this is not voluntary. Matter of fact, even the House Republican Conference, who sent a statement around and some points about this bill, said the federal government should set standards for the issuance of birth certificates and sources of identification such as driver's licenses. This is nationalization of all identification. It will be the introduction of the notion that we will be carrying our papers. Matter of fact, I think it might even be a little bit worse than just carrying our papers and showing our papers, because in this bill, there are no limitations of the information that may be placed on this identification card. There are minimum standards, but no maximum limitations. And the Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security can add anything it wants. So if they would like to put on there the fact that you belong to a pro-gun group, it may well appear on your national ID card, because there may be an administration someday that might like to have that information. But there's no limitations as far as biometrics. There's no limitations as far as radio frequency identification. That technology is already available, being used on our passports, which means that you don't have to show your papers. All you have to do is walk by somebody that has a radio frequency ability to read your passport or read your driver's license. And there's no limitation as to what they can put on these documents. And this bill also allows the definition of terrorism to be redefined. There is no limitations. And, you know, in many ways, I understand how well-intentioned this is, but to me, it's sort of like the gun issue. Conservatives always know that you don't register guns. That is just terrible, because the criminals won't register their guns. But what are we doing with this bill? We're registering all the American people. And you want to register the criminals and the thugs and the terrorists. Well, you know, why does a terrorist need a driver's license? They can just steal a car or steal an airplane or steal a bus or whatever they want to do. So you're registering all the American people because you're looking for a terrorist, and all the terrorist is going to do is avoid the law. But we, the American people, have to obey the law. If we don't, we go to prison. So I rise in strong objection to this bill, and I hope that there will be a few that will oppose HR 418. Thank you.
That's a good speech. I love it. I've actually been to a gym some time ago.
The original Monero bro right there. I mean, that was like 20 years ago, right? When they first passed the legislation for real ID, and now we're seeing it finally come to fruition here.
Yeah, and it's in the airports. You go, they scan your face. Even, I was going to say, some gyms. I've been to a gym, and you can actually just scan your face, and then you can go in. Like, you don't need to scan anything off your phone or whatever to check in.
Yo, was Ron Paul? Did anyone ever get the chance to talk to him about Monero?
Not that I know of.
Because he would 100% be like a fan.
Yeah, that whole 3.5 was like a pro Monero speech. Yeah.
I met him in person at the Bitcoin conference, because he was like sitting in this area.
Oh, cool. When?
And he's definitely older, but he still does his show. So.
Yeah, I tried to talk to him at Anarcho Poco a couple of years ago. Tried to corner him on Monero, but didn't get him.
So you already tried. Gotcha. Yeah, I would have asked him, but I wasn't really in a position to. I was just able to get a picture with him was all. So
Okay. Now I had this part of the news. I'm not gonna go over it.
oh, yep.
Monero satellite project, but I went into GitHub. It's all empty. It's interesting. I'm not that much for it for the reasons why what I said in the beginning. They can just shoot down the satellite, and I think they will do it. But yeah, they will need to come up with a lot more, like an actual team and a lot more things for me to even considering donating or something like that. But anyway,
I should say too, Ron Paul was on interviewed by Derek Bros back in January. I had asked him to bring Monero up. I don't think I ever ended up watching that interview, but yeah, I don't think he asked him that. I think he talked about Bitcoin. I don't think he talked about Monero. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay. But the fact that he's interested into I mean, he probably heard about Monero at some point. Yeah, I don't know. But the last thing for the news, guys. So a post on Reddit that said we're currently seeing RetoSwap overtaking BISC by trade volume. And the same person said this might be the most important signal and a wake-up call to Bitcoin maximalists that Monero is taking the market by force. A little too late, I would say. Bitcoin was one of Bitcoin Max's poster child, still supporting the narrative of censorship-resistant money outside the system, since BISC refused to add Monero to BISC2 in a timely manner, despite having been responsible for 80% of the trade volume and trading fees. This is not a big surprise. RetoSwap comes with zero trading fees, better privacy, and now even better liquidity. Monero is basically embodying what Bitcoin set out, but later only claimed to be. And I have the links here. You can go. So this is BISC. So they do quite a lot of volume in Monero, 87% of the volume. Okay, and this is 24-hour volume, and this is the chart. As we can see, the volume of yesterday was $272,000 here, and I think he's comparing the daily volume, but this is from Havino, and that's kind of, yeah, I don't know. I think he's comparing that day. I'm not sure, but that's the chart of this as well. I was trying to, but I mean, yes, there's a lot more volume in RetoSwap as well. And here's some numbers. This is the liquidity XMR, and this is the volume in XMR, and 83,000. I think, I'm not sure, like if this is daily. I try to play with hourly.
Wow, that's a lot of volume.
Weekly, yeah, that's a lot of volume. Yeah, so lots of volume in Monero, and yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so thank you guys for watching. This has been the news section for
Tony,
this week.
can you actually bring up one other thing I wanted to note, the XMR Bazaar. We added the ability to connect your account with your X account.
Yeah, let's do it.
If you could bring up Aaliyah tweeted about it. I think she posted a video. You could play that, actually. That'd be great.
Okay. Let's see.
So we basically added social media verification. Not that people have to do it, but it's another way to kind of quickly add trust and reputation to your account. If you have a well-known X account, people know you in the Monero community. You can see that you're acting like an honest actor there. You've been around for a while, and then you connect that account with your XMR Bazaar account, or verify it rather. You're not connecting it. Then we know you're the same person. So when you do your listings on XMR Bazaar, there's a little built-in trust that you are not just an outright scammer swooping into the Monero community.
Okay, I found it.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, here's the video she made just showing how you simply verify. You basically just have to go to XMR Bazaar, copy your verify link, tweet it out or whatever, post it on X, and then copy the URL to that tweet. and post it on your XMR Bazaar social media page, link page, and it will auto detect it and link it and verify it.
That's nice.
So that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Instantly helps a lot of accounts. Obviously, the biggest issue we face in XMR Bazaar is trying to prevent scammers. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, and we have some other updates too, but that was kind of the bigger one. We're going to be adding social media. Notifications via Signal and SimpleX. That's pretty much done. We'll be launching that soon. The bonding feature we've been talking a lot about. Here, let me bring up XMR Bazaar. The bonding feature that we've been talking about is ready as well. We just have to turn it on, make it live. We also have boosted posts, so people can pay to boost a post to advertise. That will become a means for us to get some revenue. Right now, the site makes no money. It's just a big expense. I'm just paying the devs, the dev and Aaliyah to run things, but we have to start adding a revenue stream here and doing it in a way where we don't take, we're never involved in transactions. So that will always be the case, but we'll be adding features that people can pay for, and they'll improve their experience and give us some revenue. I do see somebody started posting Monero for euros. So it looks like people are starting to use it more for that purpose. We'll make it, in addition to turning the Monero map into the local Monero map or Monero near me map, like I was talking about earlier, where you can post yourself as wanting to be seen as somebody who's in your area that's willing to trade cash or Monero. In addition to that, we'll just be adding another category, basically Monero for cash, Monero trades. Right now, we don't even have it as an official category, and then maybe we'll tweak some of the fields so that it's more conducive to that use case. But yeah, just want to get the word out there on that. Thanks, Tony. You're still there?
Yep.
All right, we'll leave it at that, and we'll move on to viewers on stage. Tony, obviously stick around if you can. Greatly appreciate. Did we get all the XMR chats? What is this? I see there's one over here. Neilus. Did you get Neilus?
Hi guys, eXch stopping operation screams one thing. Dear exchanges, consider server-side anonymity like RetoSwap. Server-side anonymity equals you're not subjected to any financial regulations. Don't be scared to go. That onion only. People will come to you. Oh, thank you, Nihilist, for the generous tip. And
very generous. Thank you.
Very generous. Thank you. And I think exam, you wanted to buy some Romanian money with Monero. So I guess you can come on XMR Bazaar and you can get euro bills, and you can go to an exchange when you get there, and then exchange euro to Romanian cash. So, but anyway, thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next week.
All right, thanks, Tony. Oh, there we go. Thank you so much, Tony. Yeah, and I guess with that being said, we'll go ahead and move into the viewers on stage segment.
Let's do it.
It's the viewers on stage segment. It's that time where we invite you, the viewers, up on stage to comment on anything you've heard so far today, ask the guest a question, or maybe talk about one of the news topics. Come on down.
All right, pulling everyone up here. Who is here? We've got Alaskanon, who has turned into a cat, tinfoil hat cat wizard, Shortwave Surfer, and Ulysses.
Okay, so I've got a couple of things to address before we go too much further. The way that Haveno works as far as funding mechanisms go, Haveno itself, that does not have any kind of live mainnet network, gets funded through donations. So when you donate to Haveno, you are donating to Woodser, and Woodser creates the Haveno software, which is testnet only, which other clients then use. So that's how the Haveno network gets funded. It's just testnet only. There's no actual live Monero trades on that network. Now, RetoSwap is an instance of Haveno that is on the mainnet, and they are currently being funded by the Monero community, or some people in the Monero community. We don't know who, but somebody is, and that is why there are 0 fees right now. Otherwise, there would be probably a 0.25 to 0.50% fee for trades, and that is going to start again in December, roughly. The year term that they agreed, the Monero community agreed to fund RetoSwap 4 will be over in December, and then RetoSwap will have, let's call it a 0.5% fee again, which they did at first, and then they took it away because the Monero community decided to fund them. So that's how the funding mechanism for Haveno and Reto works. The other thing I had to say is that I'm very much looking forward to the notifications on XMR Bazaar, because, for example, I got an order and I accepted that order a couple hours after getting it when I woke up and saw it, and the person has still not paid me because they haven't seen that I accepted the order yet. So that will be really nice to have them be notified that, hey, the seller accepted your order, go ahead and pay them now so you can actually get your item. Because otherwise I'm just going to have to cancel the order if they don't respond in a couple of days.
Yeah, that's a major problem. People missing sales. Yeah. I often spark up a conversation with somebody before I transact, but obviously we need to slowly or quickly improve that experience so that it's more instantaneous for the buyer and the seller, which is really just a communication problem. So obviously for now, notifications via Signal and SimpleX will hopefully help solve that. Maybe eventually we're integrated into Cakewallet, so you get a little bing, on your Cake iOS or whatever, Android, and you open it up and I don't know. I'm just thinking down the line, right? Or XMR Bazaar has its own app eventually. Things will certainly improve there. But first thing is notifications.
Go ahead, everybody else. That's all I had to say.
Yeah, and thanks for bringing us up to speed on how Haveno. I know you've spoken about it before in the past. Now you've made it very clear how things work. So when they do eventually add the fee back in, all the fees collected are essentially going towards a development fund?
All those fees are going to be going to Reto, who will then be using it to administer the network and whatever. And some of those fees might very well go back to the development. But those fees are not for the development of the project.
Got it. Well, so will it be like a for-profit business that somebody's profiting off of?
Kind of, yes.
Okay. Which is fine. I think they should just, be upfront about it, right? But I guess the more, I don't know, but whatever.
So RetoSwap is for profit and will eventually start making profit in like December when the Monero community is no longer funding them. Haveno itself is a non-profit where you donate to.
Was there a Monero CCS to fund RetoSwap?
No, what happened is that just some Monero community members stepped up and said, hey, we'd like to have no fees on Reto for like a year, and we'll fund you for that time while it grows, and then you can add the fees back.
Oh, very cool.
We don't know who it was, though.
See, I need to start getting some funding for XMR Bazaar. Like, that is great. That is fantastic. Okay. And yeah, once they have enough inertia, just adding the fees should be fine.
And I think the thing on the monthly, like on the trades, who's echoing, by the way? There's somebody echoing.
Wait, that could be me. Hold on.
I hear an echo. Okay, no more echo. Good, thank God. That was annoying. I think that that person that was talking about Haveno overtaking BISC might have been looking at a shorter time frame, because on the monthly, which is the one I normally look at, I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing BISC doing about $18 million worth of Bitcoin per month, and Haveno RetoSwap is currently doing about 6 million, or about 33% of that. So maybe on the dailies or on maybe a weekly, it might be catching up. but it is not there on the monthly yet. Although we have already surpassed last month. This month, we've already surpassed last month's volume, and last month's volume was the highest we've ever seen. So it's definitely increasing and quickly. We're just not there yet, at least on a monthly time frame. On a daily time frame, we might be at times.
All right. But yeah, overall, we will be overtaking it. Looks like that's the trend.
Oh yeah, that's going to happen. It's going to happen. We just don't know when quite yet.
I just had a great meal over here, by the way. So good. Oh my god. Barn jerky, guys. I did get it off of XMR Bazaar. It's been delivered.
That's
I tasted it. It's I'd open it right now, but I literally just feasted on steak and eggs and.
Oh yeah, man! I just had a nice grass-fed New York strip a little bit ago.
Nice, brother. Nice.
I need someone to sell steaks on XMR Bazaar. It's a lot harder to do though because you got to ship them a certain way. But being able to buy the jerky is super cool.
It's really. You don't have. It's really good. I'm not exaggerating. Just like the Parmesan is like the best parm I've ever had. This jerky is really good. It doesn't have any like chemical tasting flavor, like no chalkiness. It just tastes like real meat that's been jerkied.
We need somebody to sell cows on XMR Bazaar. I already have. I'm already selling mineral salts for cows, like the horses and cows and stuff like that they lick. So you can buy mineral salt on XMR Bazaar now.
Just need the cows. I mean, people.
I told you I'd sell you a cow for Monero right now. I told you that. The problem is all the cows I would be able to get you are in Alaska, and that doesn't help people who aren't here. so if you think shipping beef is bad, you should find out what it's like to ship a cow 4,000.
Put a cow on XMR Bazaar, and then just set it for Alaska, and then set it for local pickup only.
Yeah.
Well, I think cow shares are the way to go. Like do a local cow share thing makes so much sense. And that's way more pragmatic, is to just find people who already do cow shares and get them to post and it would probably be easier to convince somebody who's doing a cow share, like as far as volatility is concerned, just say, 1 out of every 4 share purchases can be denominated in Monero at, and like you have to put, a certain amount up front. Because the thing is Monero might actually represent a reduction in volatility for a cow farmer. Because it would be interesting if Bawdy wanted to look it up right now, but it is from personal experience. It almost seems like when Monero is in a downtrend, beef is in an uptrend and vice versa. Or at least that's how it's been for like the last 4 or 5 months around here. So the thing is you might actually look at it as a farmer in terms of, since I have to raise the cow for at least this much time, whether or not I lose money in order to even be able to sell it, Monero might be almost like a hedge to that. But I guess I'd have to look into it. But it's certainly having just dollars as a cow farmer, that they will tell you themselves, whether or not they know anything about Monero, that cow prices always being denominated in dollars is a huge problem as a rancher, because once you commit to getting cows, you are locked in. You can't sell like an uncompleted cow without taking a hit most of the time.
Get people to stop thinking in fiat to Monero, but like ounces of beef to Monero.
Well, that's why I say that XMR Bazaar should just remove the ability to price items in fiat altogether and force items to be priced in Monero.
I don't think we're there yet. I don't think we got to balance. We got to balance usability and adoption with the ultimate end goal.
Yeah, I just looked it up, at least as far back as I went just now. So beef prices in the United States are at near record highs, driven by supply changes and rising costs across the food industry. According to the data from the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, the average per pound price of 100% ground beef reached $5.625 in February, which is nearly 10% jump since February of the previous year, and nears the all-time high of 567. So now, what has been the change in the Monero price for the last February to February? I'll find out.
Nothing but up.
I just looked at the correlation. It doesn't look like there's any correlation to Monero's price.
Thank
Like
you for that.
there's like periods of a few months at a time where like there will be some rough correlation, but then it goes into anti-correlation. It's been correlated since like mildly correlated since the end of March. So
it looks to me as
between
though
November and January looks like there was mild correlation, but it's not much that you could really hang your hat on. Generally, just not correlated.
It looks to me as though raising a cow costs about 10 Monero. If you want to take it from the calf to the freezer, something's about 10 Monero.
I wonder what happens if you plug the dollar into that same, if there's a three-way correlation of if two are going one is going the opposite or something. It's definitely a fascinating thought experiment, though. If there was a way to like chain together the idea of diversification for cow futures with stuff other than the dollar. I mean, gold would also be an interesting candidate. Just the idea of a farmer being able to stake stakes in something other than dollars for futures contracts. I mean, there's a way to do it though, like within the market. You know, you trade your cattle futures for this and then trade this for that and so on. But it adds that layer of complexity to it all.
I know that some Monero person has to have an extra cow that they are wanting to sell that they can put on XMR Bazaar. Even if you just set it for local pickup only, put it on XMR Bazaar.
Fine, I'll do it right now.
There you go. Are you going to price it in Monero or are you going to price it in crappy fiat?
Of course I'm going to price it in Monero.
Okay, good. I mean, put it this way. Even if you don't sell the cow on XMR Bazaar, even if you just put the cow up on XMR Bazaar, then other people on XMR Bazaar can start to see what somebody on XMR Bazaar thinks a cow should cost, and you can start to build the market that way.
No, I'm definitely. I should have done it forever ago. I need to make sure that I know how much beef is in these freezers, though.
It's like when Vic put his Rolls Royce up on XMR Bazaar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like did he actually expect to sell it on XMR Bazaar? Maybe not. But now we see that a Rolls Royce costs 500 Monero or whatever it costs, you know?
We got the guy selling land in Binghamton, New York, going to come on. He's going to come on next week.
That's awesome.
Oh, speaking of New York, how did your purchasing a cat on XMR Bazaar go?
Funny you bring that up. Maybe I try to get that person on at some point too. I haven't completely sussed out them either. They've been a little odd in conversation, but they definitely sent me proof that they do in fact have these animals and they're alive and current. But the communication's been very odd.
I have to imagine communication would be odd with somebody trying to sell a cat on the internet for magic internet money.
It's been entertaining, and it's not just a cat. We should bring it up. Now they have cute little puppies that are up there. They have
I think they have a parrot.
A parrot, and I'm fairly certain this is a person that actually has these animals. They're located in the Jersey area, so they were a little inaccurate with that. But I think it's kind of like yeah, it explains everything. It's like they're either from Florida or Jersey. They're from Jersey, and I think it's kind of like a person that does this that found Monero, not a Monero person that like is just looking to do, like. I think somebody like tipped them off. Hey, maybe you want to use this site where you could sell your stuff, and you'll get this thing called Monero. I don't think they're like a Monero user first, which is fine. It's super cool that they're looking to use it for this purpose.
Yeah, the about the only thing I see that would cause me consternation about it was the fact that they're willing to ship a kitten. It's like, no, you don't ship kittens. That's local only.
Yeah, that was a bit odd. that was a bit odd.
There's like it's been a while, but a lot of those rideshare platforms. I used to drive a lot in the lower 48. It wouldn't work as good in Alaska, although I've done it here too. But especially since I drive a lot of trucks, although I drive them less than I used to. But you could make a pretty good amount of money driving people's pets to a close proximity to where they needed to move, because they were going to fly and they didn't want to fly their pet for whatever reason, or they were going to drive something that they weren't allowed to have a pet in, or they wanted the pet to have a more comfy drive or whatever. The thing is there was quite the lucrative shipping industry if you were already driving all over to just drive people's pets.
Well, here's the kitten. And yeah, here's some of their other posts. Yeah, so they have a kitten, they have a border collie puppy, they have a Congo African gray parrot, and they have a bunch of micro mini French bulldogs, which are super cute. So I don't know. I don't know if it's a scam, guys. I really don't know. The conversation's been a little odd. Like I said, they seem to show some pretty good proof that they actually have these animals in their possession. I don't know what's going on, though.
Well, and I can't blame
perceive at your own risk. I don't know.
I can't blame them for saying they're in New York if they're in Jersey, because I fudge my location a little bit too. Like, I give a physical location, but I fudge it.
Yeah, that part's understandable for sure. I mean, we're gonna add the bonding system. Let's see if they put up a bond.
Yeah, I'll be putting up a bond when it's available.
Yeah, we could get that going right away. My only hesitation is I'm gonna need like kind of help just running it structurally, because it's gonna just take some back end work. Obviously, we have everything built out, but a human's gonna have to physically kind of manage it, be involved. Aaliyah's gonna be helping with that, but I think essentially I will be needing to take some action as well. So I need to figure out how I'm going to be doing that.
The Aaliyah AI.
You really should talk to Chloe about doing that.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. All right.
Definitely talk to her about it, because it wouldn't be super time intensive. It's just about consistency. You know, bonds are.
Yeah, this might be the perfect task.
Yeah, I would definitely talk to Chloe about that, because she's very knowledgeable in those kinds of things, especially if it's like bleeding edge or avant-garde. I'll ask her to reach out to you. I'll send you her contact info too.
Word.
Oh, there we go. Perfect.
I mean, the thing is, though, it also comes down to holding keys. You know, not that I know, obviously, through you.
No, that's like the main reason why I would have her do it. That is the one person who is not going to lose those. You know what I mean? Like, and not only that, but she has like a little bit of a network where, like, even if something awful happened, like even if she were to die or something, she would have a system for that information, making it to the next in line who would be able to handle taking it over. Like, very thorough, as they say in Big Lebowski. Right? That's, in my opinion, you could not possibly have a better candidate, because like consistency is this woman's must. She's like the Ron Paul of the Monero community. You know what I mean?
All right. Yeah, I'll talk to you about it. Sweet.
And the community grows.
Anybody else
happening, by the way? Like, I from the get-go, I always thought that was the best way to do the whole, like, that more normie friendly bridge, or that, like, because isn't that the whole point of the XMR Bazaar? Like, people are reaching really hard for the whole like anonymous, exchange, decentralized. It's like, but dude, what we really need is what the people use now, like the Facebook marketplace of Monero, that doesn't track and trace and mess with your data, like a way where people can actually vet the experience of the peer-to-peer sale. And like, it appears to me like you were right on. And it's become a powerful tool for onboarding people to Monero just generally. Like you can show people that there are actual humans that are really using this for whatever their financial needs are. And I think the bonding system takes that beyond Facebook Marketplace. Like we have features and functionality that make your old normie garbage worthless. Like, look at how much better this is, in fact, I've even like kind of built a list of now that I've had this, not to derail into my personal life, but I've had this one project that has consumed like 99% of my time for the last 7 months. And I just wrapped it up yesterday. So I finally have time to like start digging into these backlogs or whatever. But one of the things that I've been meaning to do, and I hope that other people will kind of follow me on this, I want to actually go like door-to-door style, start showing people how they can use things like XMR Bazaar in my area. And then if you just get like 4 or 5 major cities that are like kind of popping up in a Craigslist style thing, and each and every one of them, you're explaining to them, like, if you want to be a seller, you can immediately have like this trusted relationship by using this bonding system. That takes it way further. And it's just people that I buy from all the time. If I can finally tell them, like, you need to get your crap off Facebook Marketplace, the tax man's coming for you. Try this. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, exactly. It's a utility, whether you're into Monero or not, right? People will realize that it serves a purpose. You could sell things essentially anonymously, privately for digital cash. Nobody sees that you're selling it. It's like having it's like posting something on Craigslist. It's like having a garage sale. So I think a lot of people see value. One of the things we're going to do too is, this is high on my list, adding, like teaming up with like Trocador or one of these other instant swaps so that people could pay in any crypto and then it just gets auto swapped into Monero for the person selling. So then we can bring in these other communities as well that will see value in being able to buy things with their crypto. They may not have Monero, maybe they have something else. And then it also becomes a way for people to always just earn Monero on the selling side, and it opens them up to more liquidity because now it's not just people with Monero.
Another thing that I could see happening too, I have no proof of this, but I totally could see it happening. People list stuff on XMR Bazaar, but then it's just kind of an unwritten rule that most people will accept fiat, but at least you don't have this account linked to your identity that is always tracking and tracing all of your allegedly taxable gains and interactions and logging the price that you took. And you know what I mean? I would love to see that where people, even if they wanted to do fiat, at least their data is not being scraped by Facebook.
Exactly.
That kind of sounded cool.
Yeah, thankfully he canceled it quickly. Otherwise, it would have been very bad, very fast.
I try to let other people talk, but I worry that the ranting and the dead air needs to be filled. So I'll wait a second.
We might have to end it. Like, there's just not a whole lot of people here today.
Chilling in limbo. Yeah, sorry guys, I don't have much on my mind at the moment either.
Hey Tux, I'm super glad to see that Cake's back on F-Droid now.
Yes. Yeah. One of the guys just for fun, created an F-Droid repo, and he got like everything working and stuff. So we're like, oh, okay, we can use that then.
Yeah, I was super happy to see that it started working again. I'm like, yes, finally.
By the way, you guys are legends for getting the background sync to work the way that it does in my book.
It doesn't work for me. I don't know why, but it does not work for me.
Sorry,
I
it
also
doesn't
had
work with screen
problems as
readers.
well.
Yeah, the screen reader thing definitely is a big problem. Although I think that's supposed to be fixed rather soon. So thankfully
Yeah,
for that. But the background sync does not work for me.
You have to make sure you follow the instructions in the app. So you gotta set it to the app to unrestricted. And if you're using GrapheneOS, there actually something you have to do in order for it to work right. I did add some instructions on the documentation that will be fixed on our side in the next update. We're going to be changing the way the background sync service works, making it more of a foreground service. But GrapheneOS has a specific setting set that's not set on stock Android that basically freezes the background sync process. So you will have to turn that off. You can actually find it in the developer settings. I realized that after writing an entire guide on the freaking command through ADB. It's actually just in the developer settings. Let me see what it's called real quick, and then you can try that out.
I was going to say, because I'm running Lineage OS and I'm still having the problem, so I'd like to see
it could still be set. It might still be set on Lineage OS. So I will, let's see. So in developer settings, there's a setting called, oh, it's not showing up. What the hell is this called? Did the search for the AOSP settings app is also dog crap on Android. It's so bad. Activity manager.
And I assume you have to be on the first profile, or like the main user.
Yes, in order to change this developer setting, you have to be on the owner profile. I'm just going to scroll through and find it manually. That'll actually be quicker than trying to search for it. Basically, it's a setting that freezes background processes. Let's see. I think it's disable screen share. Well, I'm still not seeing the setting. I'll have to look. I'll have to look later.
Grab my phone and see if I can help find it.
It's it's called something really weird.
Yeah, I'm in the developer settings here, and I'm seeing like apps don't keep activities, background process limit. I'm seeing
not that one.
Background check.
Yeah, give me just a second. Just a second.
Yep. I was beginning to wonder if it's something. I was beginning to wonder if it's the fact that I have Tor running, so I'm using a Tor hidden service node instead of a.
I don't think that has anything to do with it.
But yeah, I'm on Lineage, and I know you guys said that GrapheneOS had to change this thing, so I'm like, okay, it should work on Lineage then, and then it didn't work, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here?
Oh, the developer option is suspend execution for cached apps. There it is.
All right, what section is that under?
It's towards the. You can search for it, but it's towards the bottom section under apps section. Okay. It's called suspend execution for cached apps.
Oh, yep, I see it.
If it's set to device default, that could mean it's on or off. So if you set that to disabled, and you reboot your phone like it prompts you to, then it should start working.
Okay, disabled. Reboot.
Your device is disconnected. Pairing.
Oh, you hush, Bluetooth speaker.
So once you do that, that may have been the issue. Once again, you won't have to do that for the next hopefully the next version of Cakewallet will have that changed on our side so that the OS freezing those tasks won't affect it anymore. because it'll be doing a foreground process instead of a background process. But hopefully that fixes that for you. I guess it worked for Alaskanon already by default for some reason, even though he's on GrapheneOS as well.
Well, hey, the fact that it has background sync at all is really nice. I was just like, I wonder why this isn't working, because they said it worked on. They said this thing on Graphene, but they didn't mention anything about Lineage, and yet it's not working.
Yep, I'll try that. And yeah, the background sync is like way better than it was before. We're still improving it. Like the builds that I'm using aren't the builds that you guys are using. It has a bunch of like newer additions and changes. So the next update, so like 4.27, that'll have, or it might be 5.0. We'll have a bunch of additional settings for background sync, so you can control if it uses mobile data, if it does it on battery, like some stuff like that. But it's much more improved. It's much more stable. Also, Bawdy, I would suggest looking at that setting too if it wasn't working for you. So,
yeah, I was actually pinging you earlier this week. Did I hear that correctly? Suspend execution for cached apps. Is that correct?
yes, suspend execution for cache apps. I'm assuming you as a.
Will you bring Ulysses on real quick?
Sure.
Wait, and that's enabled or disabled?
Make sure that's set to disabled.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you are also a Chad GrapheneOS user as well, so that might have affected you.
I'm a GrapheneOS user, but I'm not at the Chad level, man. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. I'm a pleb user of GrapheneOS.
Well, just using GrapheneOS already puts you in a higher tier than like 99.99% of people.
Maybe I could be a Brad user. I don't think I should claim to be it.
Yeah, just being
GrapheneOS adds 10 years to your life expectancy. I don't know
just being
research shows.
And 1 inch to your patience.
Both of you, after you change that setting, test it over like the course of a day, then message me, let me know if that was a success.
Will do. But yeah, you're right. You just using GrapheneOS, even as a pleb user, you're 99.9% better than everybody else. At least.
GrapheneOS is starting to become kind of like more of like, it's really branched out and people are finding out about it, and it's becoming more of a little bit of a mainstream thing. I had an acquaintance at my church ask me about GrapheneOS randomly, and I didn't tell him anything about it ever. He just knew I was into like privacy stuff in general, like computer stuff in general. He just kind of asked me about it because he heard it on some podcast. I don't remember what podcast it was. But it's definitely starting to become out more into the mainstream, and is people are finding out about it and they're interested. They're getting interested too. So
I've long believed that I think we're just a little ahead of the curve. People do eventually figure out like it's biology, right? Self-preservation is like hardwired into people, and there may be a lot of existing exploits to get people to ignore those things for now. You know, people are somewhat hacked, but it'll only take them so far. And I've definitely noticed like the normie reckoning with, you know, feeling uncomfortable with the way that their privacy and all of that are being affected. And so many people have been clued in for so long now as to like just the fact that the government is not here to help and all of that, that they're starting to look for their alternatives. And I think that in the same way, a lot of people in our community are waking up to the fact that, you know, normie friendliness is, you know, like one of the most important things that we can add to what it is that we do. So I think the two are converging right now.
I just restarted my phone and it's just sitting here on the GrapheneOS screen. Like when it changes from the bootloader to GrapheneOS, it's just like sitting here. I don't know if it's installing updates and they changed it so it doesn't show you that it's installing updates.
Possibly it shouldn't really have to do much on the boot process for updating everything it does, because it's using like an A/B partition layout. So when it installs an update, it's just flashing the other partition. And then when you boot it successfully, it boots into the other one. And then I think it writes the other partition after that, after it successfully boots. But
yeah, Lineage came back up fine. So it should just be a second.
Did that change recently? Because it's been the case that if I restart my phone, like, so if it's been a while, I could be waiting like 20 minutes for updates to install. And everyone else that I know that uses Graphene has complained about that.
Oh, maybe it's possible. Then if you haven't restarted your phone in a while, it's probably got an update. I restart mine every time there is an update regularly, but if you don't, it's very possible it is rebooting into a new version.
You should have had the AB system though for quite a while. That came out in Android 8, so.
Yeah, I don't know what else is going on that would make the boot process slow, though. I have no idea. But
I mean, everybody, like literally everyone that I know that uses Graphene will be like, "Ah, shit, I restarted my phone. I forgot to."
Is it actually giving you the compiling apps pop up at all?
No, it's not. It's actually, this is the first time I've seen this where it just hangs out here on that, where it's got the hexagon and it just says GrapheneOS and it's like flashing. It's kind of like this rolling dimming and brightening of the logo.
Were you on Android 14 still by chance?
Honestly, man, I don't really pay much attention to it. I don't know.
If you never reboot your phone and your phone is not auto updating itself, like when it's idle, then it's a very good chance you're on a pretty old version.
I mean, I should be on auto updates, and I mean, at least like within the last month, I've restarted my phone. I would say.
Okay, yeah, you're good then.
This is weird though. I've never seen it do this.
I don't know what happened, but my wife's phone did the same thing to me, like I think about a month ago. And she drove it over to my work and she's like, "See, my phone isn't working." And I just held the power button for like 8 minutes or something. And then it finally turned off, and then I turned it on and it's worked perfectly fine ever since. And I've still never actually figured out what the hell even happened, but it just like,
if it's stuck like that for like a good, like maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes, it'd probably be safe to just force power it off.
Oh, here it goes. It just actually worked right now.
Hey. Perfect.
Cool. Well, at least now I can get my, I should turn off developer options though, right? Like I changed the setting and now I should turn it off.
No, because if you turn off developer options, everything else that you changed within it will also disappear. I leave it on. It's not a huge like problem. Like it's not really a security issue. Because
I just don't turn it on my wife's phone because I don't want her to do something she shouldn't do. But there's no harm if you don't do anything you're not supposed to do.
Exactly, and it's only accessible from the owner profile. And if you don't want like USB debugging turned on, you can also turn that off in developer options. If that's
I'm never on the owner profile anyways. I operate for everything from separate profiles. I just assume they're more secure.
I use different phones for that. Get on my level.
I literally have, oh my goodness, I'm getting rid of some of these soon. Thankfully, some people are interested in buying them with GrapheneOS. But I literally right now in my possession, I have 2 Pixel 6s. I have a Pixel 9 Pro, a Pixel 8 Pro, a Pixel 7, a Pixel 6 Pro, a Pixel 5.
Are you selling them from Monero?
Yes.
Good.
It's very liberal with the Y.
I'm trying to remember one person will be buying it with Monero. One person's probably just buying it with cash. Because one's like trying to get into this in the first place, so they don't have Monero, but another person does. So
if I was in the States, I would buy one of them from you. I'm actually looking for a cheap backup phone in my Pixel 3 or whatever. It's just like way out of support.
Oh, what do you use right now for your?
I've got a Pixel 8. A Pixel 7 Pro. That's what I have.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good one. Are those not as accessible in Mexico, I'm assuming?
No, they're accessible. It's just that if you shipped it to me, like if I was like, hey, I'll buy it from you, but you shipped it to Mexico, there would be something about import tariffs, and then they'd hold the shit, and I'd have to go to a bank or.
Oh, it would be like a pain in the ass. Yeah, stupid. Yeah.
Whereas just because it's an electronic.
I ship something, and the other person gets it 2 days later.
Yeah. Whereas like. I would never buy a phone off. I don't buy electronic devices off of accounts that are to my name. I just assume that there's a possibility of interdiction. But hypothetically, I could buy one off Amazon a lot easier because all that stuff is handled in the background.
Yes, yeah, and you can, I think, use like an Amazon locker.
I've never seen them here in Mexico. Maybe they exist.
Okay.
I haven't seen them, and I haven't ever seen them give me the option to ship to a locker.
Yeah, it's kind of a
anybody's ever
cool thing we
set
have
up
in the
an
United
Amazon
States.
locker, I've been trying to get a hold of somebody at Amazon that would allow me to be like an Amazon locker location. And
Your
like
house?
one of the businesses.
Oh, okay.
I have like the perfect location for this stuff.
Uh-huh.
But the thing is like I'm getting through all of these like weird auto-generated responses and like we would like to contact you at such and such. It's not even my fucking email. It's like just these I don't know. And I wonder, like, I must be doing something retarded. But if anybody's ever gone through the process of setting up an Amazon locker spot before, I would really appreciate it if they would help me figure this out. I'm usually pretty good at this, so I don't know why this is not working for me. But it's the perfect location. Like, it's got its own building, and it has a wide range of operating times, and it's in a secure facility, and I can even handle the logistics of getting it from like a main post terminal all the way to the locker. But like, I can't get a hold of anybody to set it up, and I want to do it really, really bad. I don't even care if I get paid for it. I just want there to be one in this area so people can have some privacy,
Why don't you offer that service on XMR Bazaar?
I mean, if somebody wants me to, post forward, I guess so.
I mean,
I'm
there are
all
people
about
who
it.
there are people who do reshipping on XMR Bazaar, so they get like an item sent to their house.
Alaska's a terrible place to do that. It's like I would have to add like $40 to every package just to break even.
We have a question from Fairly Reasonable Investor on YouTube. He says, is there a simple benefit of using GrapheneOS over a simple flip phone besides the apps? I think GrapheneOS would say, I want to say I read an article. They were like, yeah. Go ahead.
Because what you're doing is, if you use a lot of people will do that. They're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get rid of like all the apps and all the crap on my phone. No smartphone, no smart features. But all you're doing is you're intentionally limiting yourself to the most insecure forms of communication, which is SMS and voice calls. Not even voice over LTE, just regular voice calls. So by doing that, you're actually harming yourself.
Well, flip phones nowadays do voice over LTE, but you're totally right. You're limiting yourself to SS7, which is insecure text messaging, and you're limiting yourself to voice calls, which are intercepted by the companies. So no, that's not a good idea.
Saul Goodman, flip phones will not save you.
Yes, the Saul Goodman encrypted criminal drug phones.
I legitimately think that imagery is the government pushing people like, oh, you want to be badass, Mr. fucking drug dealer, man. Just put this spy stuff on, but make sure you don't have any of the utilities of like encrypted forms of communication, and make sure that we can find you at all times, and keep your battery down to SIP level so it's always on and we can always find you. And like, it seems to me like it's almost like it's like honeypot mentality, like make myself the easiest possible like information leak. Flip phones are all of the like reduced functionality of living in 1994, plus all of the security vulnerabilities of living your entire digital life on like Facebook. It's flip phones are not private. They are not secure. They are not helping you in any way. Graphene, there's the limit of just the fact that if you're going to use cell phone towers, you are being tracked as far as where your location is.
And he responded saying, so the SIM is a problem. The SIM is not inherently the problem, although that's like one thing that you want to gain in a certain way if you want to preserve your privacy. It's the fact that you can't use things like Signal. Like if you just got a flip phone, like a dumb flip phone that just has text and voice, you can't use Signal, which is, or like SimpleX or whatever, some form of encrypted messaging and calling. You don't have that as an option. If you want to be really private, then you will buy an eSIM anonymously from like Silent Link or some other service like Cloaked Wireless that lets you pay in Monero. And then that would be the ideal scenario, is that you buy a new phone, you buy a new SIM, and then it's not tied you directly. And then also, if you want to go above and beyond, then you don't have it in, like, you have airplane mode on most of the time if you have Wi-Fi, and you only turn airplane mode off if you need to use data outside of your main like place of residence, or if you need to use like if you have a phone number on the SIM, if you need to use that, then you turn off airplane mode. But yeah, those are just a few tips.
And you never turn off airplane mode while you're at your house, because the fact that it will connect to the cell phone towers, and then they'll know that your house has another device. So don't do that.
Well, like they're not going to get your exact address most likely. But they can do cell tower triangulation within a pretty close range of your area. So it's not going to be like it's not like GPS. But depending on where you live too, if you're in a rural area, it's going to be way off. If you're in a very urban area that's got a lot of towers, it's going to be way more accurate. Assuming they're trying to track you in that way. So
the problem with, like, even though the location is going to be way off, the fact that they have fewer things to choose from in a rural area, it can still very much by itself be a dead giveaway. So like if you're one of 4 people that
that's true. If you're like super rural,
and then on top of that, but just using the time of day, and not only that, but keep in mind those other people are usually tied to something. So the thing is like process of elimination, you can be reasonably sure that if only a husband and a wife live next door to you and they both have this cell phone and this cell phone number, it is highly likely that they are not the candidate for this new device. So like,
there's, it's all the extra heuristics that come with it. Like, who are you talking to? What's the timing pattern? Like, it's pretty trivial actually once you combine your communications with specific people together, along with the triangulation. Like it's
by the way, people, like that heuristics element, like what Bawdy is getting into, you don't need to understand all of the ways that a person can deduce this stuff. You do not have to go into like, Ivy League university level, the complexities of how they can rule out this and that or whatever, in order to know the most important element of this, which is the less data they have, the harder it is to draw a conclusion. Okay, every piece of data they get, no matter how arbitrary, no matter how, is one more way that you can narrow down your target. So that's why
go
ahead.
I was just saying, if we're looking at this from top down, this is basically what I do. Is it really necessary for me? Not really, but I do it anyway because I can. You get a GrapheneOS phone that you buy used, right? Because like we're talking about removing data points. If you're taking all the data points, you buy a used GrapheneOS phone. That's like not from like directly from a carrier or from a retail store, right? You do a private sale. So that's IMEI, and the serial number is not tied directly to you. So you do that. You buy an anonymous eSIM, and then you set that up somewhere that's far from your actual place of residence. Doesn't have to be like across another town, but like not at your house kind of deal. And then you use only a data only eSIM, right? So everything that actually goes to this data only eSIM, you go through Tor or a VPN. So you don't even have a phone number on this eSIM, because that's another data point, is that if you have a phone number tied to that eSIM, they can see who you're texting, where you're getting text from, who you're calling, all that stuff. So don't even have a phone number on it. Use a VoIP number to text and call people directly. If you have to, obviously use Signal if you can. And of course, never. And if you don't have a phone number on the SIM, well, then you don't even have to use the cellular network at all when you're at home. So you can always have an airplane mode when it's at home, or when you're like, having Wi-Fi. And that way you're removing like pretty much like all the main data points that would be used to try and track you with your phone. And that kind of gives you an air quote safe way to use the cellular network, if that makes sense.
It does. Not easy to do. Like it's definitely involved to try and do all that. But if you have certain use cases where you have a high desire for privacy, right? Maybe you're doing some buying and selling of Monero for cash or whatever, and you're like, hey, I don't want the government to know that, or corporations or whoever might be spying on you. You could also think of it like a ring signature. Like every time that you convey another little piece of information, you're just removing another ring member, right, from from your sort of anonymity set. It's a crude comparison, but every time that you do little things that convey a little bit more information, you're basically removing ring members from your anonymity.
And then if you
set.
just go totally off the grid, that's like FCMP++. You just don't use the internet at all. You're not online. You don't exist.
You went to the forest with a shovel and you dug yourself a cave, a whole tunnel network like the Viet Cong. Nobody knows where you are anymore.
Carrier pigeons.
Bawdy, are you spying on me? How do you know this? Oh, I mean, never mind.
Bro, everybody knows that about you. Come on. Why else would you go to Alaska? Twice the size of Texas. So many undiscovered caves there.
I'm here for the music scene, bro. I'm here for the music.
Obviously. In the 24-hour summers.
I'm here for the nightlife.
That's got to be about the funniest thing I've heard all day.
This is easily provable by one, you could test EMF against the phone, but also two, the difference in my phone in terms of battery life, if airplane mode is on or off, is massive. And also GrapheneOS, like Android, like modern phone operating systems, iOS and Android, have very large control over, like the OS itself has large control over the modems, like cellular modems, even though those are running proprietary firmware. The OS has large control and sandboxing over it. And of course, in GrapheneOS's case, it's, well, the operating system itself is open source. But that's just, you don't even need to know anything about the software. You can test that based on, okay, the battery life. How much is it draining based on having airplane mode on or off? For me, it's a big difference. And then two, you could even test with like a EMF meter to see if it's giving off some frequencies. So
there's also the heat bag experiment. If you put it in a Faraday cage, does it keep getting hotter and hotter and
yeah,
how
that's a
fast?
good one too, especially if we have 5G on, because it'll get really hot, especially the pixels, because they aren't the most efficient modems.
Right,
I actually have
Ulysses
tested
had
with an
something
EMF
to
meter.
say- If Ulysses had something to say, I would love it if he would go before I was going to dive into like the neighborhood element of what we're talking about, but I'll wait for him to go first.
But I probably, yeah, go ahead, Ulysses.
Oh, well, no, I mean, this is going way back earlier in the conversation, more to do with XMR Bazaar, but I was just kind of curious about the verification thing, because I guess they said Twitter is going to be, X, but what about using something like Signal as a way to verify an account on XMR Bazaar?
I mean, that'll be harder to do because Signal accounts aren't inherently public. You'll already need to be like established with some, like maybe if you have a Signal account that's already established with Doug, then you could confirm directly with him. But it's not as easy as like, oh, I can see this person that I already follow on X and I can just confirm that way. So there'll have to be other considerations there.
To be fair, I definitely think that X should not be the only option. I think that something like Mastodon or Nostr should also be an option for verification. That way we're not reliant on a central authority that is X.
Yeah, I mean, Nostr would be cool too. Like I'd be interested in using any other kind of like social thing to say like, hey, verify me on like, XMR. I mean, I'll have Twitter or whatever, but it'd be nice to be able to say like, oh, I can use something like Nostr or Signal. Maybe it's the Signal
just to
handles.
chime in. Yeah, no, we're completely open to that. I think even on the feature, BT Dev mentioned other examples that we'll be adding. So like even like Telegram, which although that's probably the scammiest of them all. Well, anything that we can easy enough add where you could basically build up a profile and a reputation. So maybe even like Reddit. Different. We're open to different sources of reputation.
You keep talking about things I don't have. You have Twitter. I don't have that. You
How
have
about just
Telegram.
adding
I
a
don't have that.
TXT record on your domain for XMR Bazaar?
Oh, there you go. I do have one
Here's
of
the
those.
thing, Shortwave. Like in my opinion, the bond is the golden goose on this one, because the thing is like, what can you trust more than people putting up money where their mouth is? Like there's nothing more reliable for like peer-to-peer verification. Like all of these social media elements and all that. I mean, cool. Some people trust them, whatever. I mean, I'm on none of this stuff, right? I log on to Twitter once a week to find the link to Monerotopia, And then Friday night before it, I respond to everything that I can find on my feed. And Saturday after it, I look and see if anybody reached out to me. And that's
I mean, the thinking with X2 is being the first, because that's also a way to spread the concept through social media by people seeing that other people are getting verified, right? So
yeah, and I mean that makes sense to be the first one, because that's where almost the entire community is. Like, the community is in different, like, uses other places, but the vast majority of the community is on X. That's just how things tend. Everything tends to centralize to one place because it makes things easier. That's just how it is. So whether you like it or not. But I think I'm going to go ahead and close it off here, guys, because it is just about 3 o'clock already. So
do you mind if I throw one little thing about the heuristics thing that I think is probably
go ahead, Alescanon.
So this community, and rightfully so, spends a lot of time talking about increasing your anonymity set and how you can privately this and that and whatever, because we spend a lot of time on like the dangers of heuristics. But as a person who tries to keep up with this stuff, there's actually one very important function of the math of all of this that I hope will bring hope. That's interesting. That to anybody who's listening, and how important the idea of getting together with your neighbors and building a community actually is. So just like how I was saying, if you're the only one in your neighborhood who has an anonymous phone and you live in a rural area, the heuristics alone will help them figure out. But the thing is that works the other way too. Right? So because of how many people in my neighborhood are using graphene, whether or not they have a SIM card with a phone number registered to their name and all of that other stuff, just the fact that they know to use airplane mode once in a while, they know how a Faraday bag works, they know, the idea of getting your community involved in protecting their privacy in any way at any level, it works the other way with heuristics. It works the other way with anonymity sets and data sets. And one of the reasons large language models are as effective as they are is because they're scraping so much data. But it works the other way too. When an AI or large language model or somebody, some government agent is trying to piece together who bought bread from the grocery store Sunday at noon, right? Every time you take one little piece of data out of that, it has a huge effect on the overall model. And even if you can be 99% sure that this guy is the guy, that's enough to operate on. But at 95%, now you have a 1 in 20 chance of being wrong. Or at 90%, you have a 1 in 10 chance of being wrong. So every time you remove data from this, that's great. But even more important, rather than becoming security theater extraordinaire, I only use Tails on my Commodore 64, just some however far you want to go into this. The reality is you're going to have 10 times as much security getting your neighbors to just come up one level. Like, if you're the only guy in a neighborhood who has a gun, then when the gun grabbers come, you're screwed. But if all of your neighbors have guns, now it's like an untenable even if it's just like some shitty pistol or whatever, it doesn't matter. A well-armed populace, not just one guy, but and although one guy can do a lot, don't get me wrong, but like the thing is your neighbors being able to feed themselves, your neighbors being able to defend themselves. But this is even more true when it comes to privacy. If your neighbors are just a little bit more secure with their data, it goes a long way for both them and you. And so that's why you need to get to know your neighbors. You need to get to know your community and just make a little dent in every one of their lives. Like, maybe somebody's thinking of getting off of Facebook, encourage them. Show them other ways that they can get their dopamine high. Show them other ways that they can, have you ever tried touching grass, bro? Let's go hiking. Let's go to the park. Every time you do that, every time you get somebody out of the system, that's how you protect your own privacy. And I hope that people understand those data sets are depending on like the data sets that are used to violate your privacy when you're doing the right thing are easily defeated by you helping your neighbor get a little bit off the grid. They don't have to start immediately, you know, switching. If they're not arch bros or whatever, it doesn't matter. As long as you've helped them a little bit, it goes a long way for you. That's what I wanted to say about the whole heuristics thing.
Yeah, that's important because like with the whole push for real ID and like the digitization and attaching it to like, you know, biometrics and like that shit's fucking like, that's what do they call that? Trapdoor totalitarianism. Like once you go past that line, you're not getting rid of it.
If the only thing you did was like get everyone to use like Signal, that's still like a significant like upgrade, because now automatically all those people can use Signal with each other as well, not just you. I've gotten a ton of people, like pretty much everyone I talk to now, like friends and family, all use Signal for the most part, and some of them even use Signal with each other. So it's kind of like a reciprocating gains, right? Like it's not just an improvement with you, but you end up improving their privacy within other people as well. So it kind of adds up. But that being said, guys, I think we'll go ahead and end it here. Thank you everyone for coming on and jumping on to talk. Have a great Resurrection Sunday tomorrow if you celebrate. And we will see you guys next week on Saturday, 11 a.m. EST.
God bless you all.
Thank
Happy
you, guys.
Easter, if that's your thing.
Buona Pasqua.
Eat some chocolate.
Adios.
Thank you for joining us on this week's Monerotopia episode. We stream live shows every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. You can find and subscribe to our show on YouTube and Odyssey, or listen to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or Stitcher. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter or join us in the Monerotopia Telegram.